So I'm going into the West End this afternoon, and I thought that it would be as quiet as one of those old Western towns. You know, in the movies where there's two guys who both have one tooth, and they're sucking a pipe and saying, well, it's a little quiet, Skeeter. Tumbleweed drifting across the road. I thought there wouldn't be anybody out. But it was absolutely rammed. Who are all these people that weren't interested in England playing... mind you, it was Oxford Street. There are no English people on Oxford Street. Any fool will know that. But... and the entire newsread was misbehaviour by our own fans. Can you believe it? Football fans from this country are misbehaving. Here... It's not even like they're just exporting it now, they're doing it here. It's just amazing. So they're having a nice day in the Docklands, and they decided to throw glass bottles at each other. What a good idea. Mind you, East London people are very difficult. But it's beyond East London, right? It's the Docklands. They're supposed to be all yuppies out there, right? And they're living in their executive flatlets. With no cupboards. But it's got a balcony, outside space. That's ridiculous, don't you think? Speaking as a woman, Lucy, you must think that's silly. Blokes get together. I mean, and they were wondering why they did that. Well, boredom, possibly. They were watching the match. That was awful. Am I right?
Ridiculous.
Yeah, we've got to do a lot better than that, don't we? And Paraguay. What's the population of Paraguay? It's like 12, isn't it? The entire population of Paraguay was playing on the field this afternoon against our Galacticos, and we could barely. And the only goal that was scored by them. Technically they beat us. Very poor. And Sven said, "Yes, well, when Rooney is much better." And David Beckham said, "Oh, yeah, well, you know, at the end of the day." And Wayne said, "Oh, yeah, you know, and so everything's going to be great. So the number's 0870 9090973, and they caught, what's his name? There's a picture of him absolutely everywhere. There it is, right there. Can you see it? With a soldier standing erect right by it. And it's, I don't know, what's his name? Musab al-Zakawi. Crazy name, crazy guy. And he's not looking his best, you'd have to say. I think this man needs makeup. And they've got a giant picture of it, which they were showing to the world. And they went to... Can you believe that they went to the trouble of framing it? That's actually quite expensively done. They got one of those mats. Do they call them mats that surround the picture, and they got it edged in? They probably took it to a shop. Excuse me, we've just taken this picture. There's a lot of holiday snaps on this roll, but there's one of a dead guy at the end. Can we frame that one? Blow it up really big and we'll frame that one. Oh, and while we're here, can we have the one with the tennis woman scratching her arse? And the Marines want that one with the guy holding the baby. Because you know what they say about the Marines. Woohoo! Not even daytime television is that gay. So how many people have we offended so far? Only American Marines, and no one's scared of them, right?
No.
So how's the week been, Lucy? Let's just have a head count. Anybody been shot so far this week? Here.
In the building?
Well, in this room right now. Lucy?
No, not me.
Clive?
No, not me.
Alex? Oh, no.
I shot him.
What is going on? If it's not... And the only reason that there were no stabbings in our news bulletin was that the people have been fighting, our own football supporters have been fighting amongst each other. Riot police had moved into a square in Frankfurt, and they were going on intelligence given to them by MI5. The fight was actually in Dusseldorf, but somewhere in Germany, we don't really... If there's a fight, it might not be a fight. They looked like they were hugging. It could have been squeezing. We don't really know. We're MI5. British intelligence, eh? What a misnomer. And the only reason that there were no stabbings in the news was that, they've continued, and they were in the news all this afternoon while the football was on, because when the football finishes, then the fighting starts. And what is going on? Seriously, it's like not a moment goes by. And I'm wondering, is it that there has always been this amount of stabbings, and it's just the fashionable thing to talk about on the news now? It's like I was saying last week. Or is it that suddenly everyone's gone insane? And you can't even blame the weather, because it hasn't been that particularly hot yet. And if we're in for a long, hot summer, I mean, there's going to be blood running in the gutters, isn't there? This is awful. And do you... since all this stuff has been happening, since people have been getting stabbed like every second of the day, do you sort of check yourself when you're going out in public and you think, I'll just let this person go in front? Because, you know, whatever they look like, you just never know. They might turn around and just be a crazed nut. When, when going off at the lights, you just let the person who's standing next to you, he can go first. And suddenly, is it just me, or is everyone being super polite? As though everyone is armed and dangerous. You're shaking your head, Lucy.
I don't think so,
You're
no.
just as rude as ever?
Well, not
You lunged
me.
at me with a knife when I asked for a cup of tea.
Good tea? Bad tea?
It's not bad.
Good. But not good.
Yes. A Paraguayan bar. There's only one Paraguayan bar in London.
Really?
I never even know it was. Well, they said in the news, so it must be true.
Are we upset about that?
Well, I don't know. What do they serve in a Paraguayan bar? Beer, probably.
Paraguayan beer?
Beer, yeah. And where is it? And who's been there? Does anybody know? Hands up at the back? Anybody have any clue what they do in a Paraguayan... I don't even know where... I wouldn't be able to point to Paraguay on the map if you gave me the £100,000 that Gary King has got in his suitcase.
What you mean in his attaché case of destiny?
Yes. Yeah. Not even if you waved that in front of my nose would I be able to pinpoint Paraguay on the map. More or less, I could get the right continent. Well, within 2 goes.
I can Google it for you.
All right, Google Paraguay. Let's see what they've got to say for themselves.
Okay.
How on earth did they nearly beat us? Technically, they got more goals than we did. So weak. Where's Paraguay? No, you can't. Not just where's Paraguay. Just Paraguay would be good. Dial up the CIA page and ask them what they think of Paraguay. Map of Paraguay. Here we go. And there it is. But that's not very helpful because it's only a map of Paraguay, not where Paraguay is in the whole wide world. Lucy, you're rubbish at this.
Oh, give me a chance.
Third time
Okay.
lucky. World map. And then we'll try and find it with a pin. Oh, I've got a stitch. I feel like I've been running.
Have you been running?
No. I even took the lift up. There's only 3 flights.
How's all your health kit going?
Oh, never mind about me.
Well, I'd be interested if you're still keeping it up. I saw you eyeing my crisps up on the desk earlier.
No, well, I've never really done crisps. I don't pollute my body. My body is a temple. No, I've given up coffee and tea and proper milk. I drink skim milk now, which is just white water,
it's delicious.
isn't it? It's not delicious at all. You're completely wrong about that. It's so weak. You expect to come down in the morning and all the white to have settled to the bottom of the bottle.
But that's why you're enjoying your tea tonight, because you've got semi-skimmed.
Is it? Ooh,
dangerous.
The luxury. Yeah, if I pass out now before 1 o'clock,
We
it's
know
your
why.
fault. Yeah.
I've had a bad week on the house again, by the way.
Okay, well, let's recap. Last week, you were going to buy a house and someone usurped you.
Yeah.
Gazump.
Yeah, and
Google
then...
gazump. I would like to know where that word come from.
Would you?
Came from. I sound like one of those girls in the back of the bus, and I'd be popping gum and saying, like, where's that come from? Gazump. Does it really have 2 Zs?
Well, how would you spell it? 1 Z?
Yeah.
Gazump.
Gazump cartoons. No?
No.
House buyer gifts. It's hardly a
No.
gift, is it?
Certainly not a gift.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay, so you were gazumped last week because you were just in on the threshold of buying your Des Res.
Yeah. And then we found another one this week after...
Did you?
We did, and it was beautiful.
What are you looking for?
We're looking for
An house.
a 2-bed house with a garden.
A
and
2-bed
preferably-
house?
Yes.
There's no such thing.
There is.
A 2-bed house?
Yes.
Who's ever heard of a 2-bed house?
A 2-bedroomed house.
You can have a 2-bedroom flat, but not a 2-bedroom house. They don't exist. I refuse to believe it.
Well, I found one.
Does it have a thatched roof?
No, it didn't have a thatched roof.
Is it in a boot?
No.
Does an old lady live there?
And it even had a bathroom upstairs.
Huh.
It did have an old lady, yes, actually. Yes, and that rotten old lady didn't give us the house.
Oh, well, it's because she had so many children she didn't know what to do.
But we had the first offer
What do
in.
you mean she didn't give you the... Huh?
Well, she had
Didn't like the look of you. Well, who can blame her?
Thanks. Well, we went in at full asking price. We were the first people there.
Are you crazy? The full asking
Yeah.
price? People are dropping their chips all over London. Full asking price you went in at?
Well,
are you insane?
No, I didn't want to play a game. I needed the place. We have our buyer, and I thought, let's go for it.
Let's get this job done, you thought.
Yes.
That's good thinking.
I thought so.
That's fast ahead thought, that is.
Yeah, and then...
What was the result?
Well, I think the estate agent started telling me little porkies, like, you stand a really good chance, but she'd really like some other people to look round the property. In the meantime, lots of other people come in with offers, and today I had to have a bidding war. And our bid didn't win, even though it was the same amount of money that it went for in the end.
Or so they told you.
So they told us, but apparently the people who got it didn't have anyone that they weren't selling a property, and we were. So that ruined our chances, even though we've got our buyer ready to go.
Wouldn't you like to nail estate agents to the wall and then use them as target practice?
Yes, at the
Would
moment,
that be
yes.
wrong, or would you get the backing of the general public? I think you pretty much would, wouldn't you? Them, and you could line financial advisors up right next to them.
Yeah, that would be good.
Hey, who do you think is the most intelligent of sports people? Oh. Did you see this week?
No.
Do you read the papers?
Occasionally.
Wait a minute, let me get this. The most intelligent sports people. Sports Stars Intelligence. That's what it's under. It's under the Sports Stars Intelligence file. I knew I'd put it somewhere. I will give you a list of sports types, and you have to tell me which is the least intelligent. This
Okay.
will be easy.
Yep, you say.
There's 12 in all. I'll give you... We've got to take a break now.
Oh, yeah.
I'll give you this list during the break. We'll come back and scrutinise it.
If you like what...
Are you ready?
Ready.
Cricket. Tennis.
Do I need to write these down?
Well, you can remember all 12.
No, I really can't.
Rugby union.
Yep.
Rugby league. Can you believe that they differentiate between rugby union and rugby league?
Oh,
Like,
it's very different.
One is more into... Oh, please.
Come on, it is.
Union, much more intelligent.
Nonsense. It's all just guys on steroids running into each other. That's all rugby is. Silly game. Any fool know that. Football. Now, there's a good game. Add that to the list. Snooker.
Yep.
Cycling. Not much of a sport, really. It's just a pastime more than anything, isn't it? It's a form of transport. Like driving a car. That's not a sport either.
What about snooker?
What, taking a bus?
But snooker is.
Why don't they have an Olympic sport like hailing a cab? That's ridiculous. Cycling. Rowing.
Yep.
Athletics. Horse racing. Have I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Oh, 2 to go. Golf.
Yeah.
And, tennis? Have I said tennis?
Tennis. No, we haven't
Yeah,
had... Oh, yes, we have tennis as number 2. Darts.
Well, we know the answer to that already, don't we? That goes right at the bottom of the list. Darts.
Polo.
Boxing.
Boxing. Great.
Right, now you have to put those in order of intelligence.
Okay, and should we start at number 1 is, what, the top?
1 is the most intelligent. Yeah.
Okay.
And the bottom is the least intelligent.
Okay, well, let's start at the bottom first.
We'll do this amongst ourselves.
Okay.
And then we'll,
So you don't want my answers yet?
Well, no.
No, you just...
Cogitate on it, because you've got nothing else to do.
Is boxing at the beginning or end of their career?
Well, that's an excellent question. Let's just take it as the average.
Okay.
You're being very difficult, Clive. So the number, already we've got calls absolutely flooding in, don't we? 0870 9090 973. Am I doing this show right? So let's have one. No, I'm not going to have one for anything of the kind. I was going to, when I said let's have one, I was looking over at what I've got to talk about. And one of these things over here. Well, as we're on the subject of cycling, let's talk about cycle lanes. North Yorkshire County Council used money from a government fund to encourage environmental transport to refurbish the scenic route near the spot where Captain Cook embarked on his voyages. So instead of having to drive along the road, like cyclists, they spent a good deal of taxpayers' money on widening the cycle route over scenic hills and dales. Doesn't that sound a great idea? Workers spent 2 months resurfacing the footpath to encourage cyclists to use it. But weeks after completion, signs have been put up along the 200-yard stretch asking riders to dismount for safety reasons. A cycle lane. Big sign, please do not cycle. John Holton, a Whitby town councillor, described the scheme as a complete waste of money. No kidding, John. I cannot believe that. Guess how much a 200-yard stretch of cycle lane cost? Have a wild stab in the dark. Anybody? No? £100,000. I cannot believe that £100,000 of taxpayers' money has been spent on something that cannot even be used, he said. Just think what the money could have been spent on. Well, don't get too upset, John, because what they would have spent the money on would be exciting new chairs to further enhance the comfort of their own bottoms, new carpets for their offices, fact-finding missions to Australia to find out how they should be running their own traffic lights, and all that folderol that's got nothing to do with running a council, but it seems to be where all the money goes. Hiring new traffic police. Mr. Holton, this Whitby town councillor, said, because there's not enough room for both cyclists and walkers, cyclists are being told they cannot ride on a path designed for them. It's a complete farce. What's the point of a cycle path when you can't cycle? Excellent question. Emlyn Williams, the county's transport strategy manager. Oh, there's just no end of managers, is there? There's just reams of them. Is that the correct group term for a ream of managers? It probably is. The paper is involved. She said probably, Elwyn, the county's transport, Elwyn, hands up who thinks he's male, who thinks she's female. Male? Female? Most of them
Male.
don't know.
Female.
Straight down the middle, like one of those Big Brother contestants. We're not too sure, either or. It's like today, yes, yesterday.
Are you still watching it?
You know what? I got hooked on the first week because of Shabazz. He was phenomenal. That was car crash television like I've never seen in my life. There was a man who was actually breaking down before your very eyes, and you didn't know whether he was going to pick up one of those kitchen utensils and stab everyone in their sleep. It was hilarious. And so that got me absolutely, totally hooked. Since he's gone, it's not as exciting anymore. I mean, what?
Oh, I thought I was relying on you to give me the updates, seeing as I've still boycotted it.
There's not much that's happened as far as I can tell. Nope, can't think of much. Some woman went in last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone's very suspicious because she's obviously mates with the people that are already in there. She looks suspiciously good-looking, and is another one with gigantic
bazookas.
Yeah.
But a lot of them know each other anyway through former auditions?
Very suspicious. I mean, people are going to start thinking that this thing is being manipulated by Channel 4.
When does the Kit Kat winner go in?
That's what I'm saying. That was the woman. And
that was it?
Yes, there was
I've missed all that already.
There was about 7,000 Kit Kat winners, all lined up in a row, and they happened to pick a beautiful woman with large boobs who personally knew all of the housemates. And people are thinking,
She actually knew them? That's
what they were
ridiculous.
saying. They were saying, do you remember me?
Oh.
And I don't know. It's come down to now just women bitching about each other behind each other's backs, and by women I include the big so-called butch gay guy.
Ah, right.
Somebody told me that they had a contest to shout the loudest. Channel 4 are just making this up as they go along, aren't they? They've got no plan. They're just like it's a bunch of YTS trainees, because that's what they sound like. Particularly the guy that does the voiceover. It's 9:05 a.m. He sounds retarded, doesn't he? He sounds actually mentally deficient. Why did they pick him? Of all the voiceover artists in the whole wide world, he just happened to be walking by the office at the time.
But you'd never forget it, would you?
Well, I suppose not, no. But it's just irritating, isn't it? Remind me to talk about television announcers a little later on. I did this last week, but there's more. I have to vent my spleen.
Right.
Now, we haven't found Paraguay yet. Can you point to the spleen in your body? I bet you can't. But you couldn't find it with both hands. Or you sat up straight and then did something beneath the desk. I've got no idea what you're doing.
My spleen, isn't it,
She's pointing
in
to
my back?
Well, that's your kidneys there.
Well, no, the middle bit. Isn't it by my spine?
Everything's by your spine. It's not like you're 6 feet wide. It's like more or less grouped around that area. Right, shall we go with this one?
Yeah.
Can you point and drag? Can you hit and drag?
Yeah.
Oh, how about that? Hey, Richard.
Hello, yeah.
How are you?
All right. Normally you get callers who say, oh, have you, do you remember me calling you the other week? And
Yeah, and I always say, absolutely, my memory's spot on.
Well, you probably won't remember me calling you in 1993 then.
Oh, you've been on hold ever since?
Well, I've been waiting for you to come back on the air after all these years.
I'm back.
All right. But I mean, basically, I'm just, I'm quite into radio talk show hosts over the last few decades. A bit of an anorak, really, I guess. A bit like you, by the sounds of it.
An anorak?
Well,
No, I wouldn't really call... No.
okay, you're not then. I am. You're not. Fair enough.
I don't like radio that much to be an anorak. I used to be obsessed with it. I used to do nothing else. Used to, listen to Radio Luxembourg, and as soon as the record would start, I'd tune around just to find any other station where I would tune the music out just to listen to a DJ. That's how much of an anorak I used to be. But then that's when I wanted to be a DJ. Now, as soon as a DJ comes on, I turn it off, pick the radio up and throw it out the window. No, I think I've become the exact opposite of an anorak now.
I think,
What would the opposite of an anorak be? A blousel? A shirt? Naked? I'm a naked person.
sounds interesting. Anyway, basically, it's funny how, I've been listening to different talk radio hosts over the last sort of 20 years nearly now, and I've noticed how they, after a few years, they change either into something, not very, either they change for the better or not at all, or you get worse. For a start, I used to listen to James Whale back in the...
Right, without mentioning any personalities' names, yeah. James Whale, you say, yes?
I was sorry to admit, I was basically mad on him in the mid-80s.
Well, there was no one else to listen to. He was the only talk show host in the country, wasn't he?
Well, I was living up north.
Oh, well, I feel your pain.
Well,
how awful for you.
There was quite a bit of competition, actually, in talk show hosts. But in that period, you had a guy in Piccadilly and you got a guy...
You sound depressed, Richard. Are you okay?
Everybody says that about my voice. Ian Lee says that as well about my voice as well.
You sound really down. Is life going all right?
It's just the way I talk, unfortunately.
Is there something that you'd like to share? Maybe you'd like to call Anna.
I listen to the last 5 minutes of her show every day waiting for Ian. So,
that sounds uncaringly dismissive. But will you give her a half an hour? Will you give her half an hour? For me?
I'll give her half an hour.
There you go.
The thing about him, as he's got older... He's James Whale.
Oh, can we stop talking about other hosts on other stations?
Okay, I'm just saying he's
He continues to be the same person that he always was. Let's leave it at that, shall we?
Okay, fair enough. I don't know, it's just... There seems to be an optimum age, sort of early 30s.
Early 30s for a talk show host?
That's what I think.
Oh, come on, mate. No, but thanks for playing. 50 to 60 is the optimal age for a talk show host. You want to start listening to talk radio in America. Go and listen to Neil Rogers. Go and listen to Howard Stern. Listen to Phil Hendry. All of these people, all of my heroes are all 50, 60 years old.
So 20 years ago they weren't as good, is that what you're saying?
There's an optimal age for a DJ, like a radio one, DJ, hey! And that's about, 10? 12, something like that. And it starts to become a little sadder the older you get, particularly if you're playing young people's music. But I guess it's all about attitude, because John Peel was a gigantically fat, ancient old man, and he got the youngest audience of anybody on Radio 1, and boy, did they hate that. They hated that, because they were putting all these groovy young people that they just nicked off Channel 4 youth TV, and they were being beaten by some corpulent old bloke who lived on a farm. They couldn't... Every focus group that they ever did came back with the wrong answer. They just couldn't believe it. Stunned they were. And they were furious, and so they kept edging him later and later and later, and finally they had someone go out and kill him. Can you believe that?
Well, do you think they have, are they...
I just backtrack and say, they didn't have somebody go to the Andes and kill John Peel. Not even the BBC would do that. MI5? Anyway, back to you.
Oh, yeah, I'm quite interested. I think I've heard you talk about John Peel before, and Yeah, he was quite obviously the sort of token sort of proper show.
Richard, you're even depressing me. Even Lucy's getting depressed listening. Would you try, I don't know, would you try
Hey, it's not bad.
caffeinated coffee?
Hi. Stabbing to death.
In the shadow of Canary Wharf, isn't that awful? With all those nice buildings with that nice stone and they're all shiny and bright and new. And East End oiks are just ruining the whole place. Security guards are, nice music, but faded away. Security guards are running over because they've never seen the like. People who live there are stunned. The sushi is dropping from their chopsticks. They've never seen anything like it. Security guards are trying to bust them all back to Stratford, or wherever it is they come from. Not Stratford, it's Marland. Squeeze them all back onto the Docklands Light Railway. I hope it's still running. Is it still running?
I believe so.
Silly little thing. Runs from 4 till 6 every afternoon, except on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays and Sundays. Some Mondays and Tuesdays. But the Docklands is actually very nice. I know I've said this before, but here's a great idea, and if it's going to be 30 degrees again tomorrow, this would be perfect for tomorrow. They've probably broken the fight up by the time you get there. Go to the embankment. Everybody should do this. Wouldn't it be great if, 10,000 people showed up at the embankment? Yes, one, please. Get a boat down to Canary Wharf and go and sit out in one of the many restaurants and cafes there. Absolutely delightful. You'll love it. And then you can thank me later. Have you ever done that, Lucy?
I have, actually, but is it open much at the weekends?
Well, all the restaurants and the cafes are, and the shops. Yeah, the offices aren't. You won't be able to go in there and do a spot of work.
Oh, what a shame.
But then, who wants to do that? Who doesn't actually work there?
True. It is very nice there,
You could pitch in. Go to Citibank and say, I'm not doing anything right now. Is anything you need filing?
You need typing?
Yeah. Filing. Does anybody do that anymore? I can remember one of my first jobs. I went to one of these awful temping agencies, which, by the way, sent me to my early death. I'll mention that in a minute. But one of the first jobs was putting cards in alphabetical order. Oh, blimey. There's a job that doesn't exist anymore, eh? It's all on pewter, and the pewters do it for us. Do the computers here put things in alphabetical order?
Well, it depends if you want it to. Probably.
The one temping agency sent me to the National Coal Board. They have offices in just by the Queen's Place, down in Buckingham Palace, Victoria Road or something like that. Big, grand, old, ugly building. And in the basement they said, see all these sheets of asbestos? We would like you to move them from the cellar. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. They're about 3 foot by 2 foot, some or even bigger than that. All these sheets, me and this other bozo, and we were both teenagers at the time. They said, move all these sheets of asbestos onto this
Trolley?
No, it's a moving
Lorry.
a moving walkway type of thing. What do they call that?
Escalator.
No, kind of like an escalator, but flat.
Lift?
We're getting there.
Travelator.
Like a travelator, but for goods, not people.
An industrial
Like a conveyor
lift.
belt. A conveyor belt. Put all these things onto a conveyor belt, and then we'll dump them into a skip. The dust was so thick, we could barely see each other in this basement. It was a whiteout.
Did you put a mask on?
Well, I said about halfway through the day, I said, should we not be wearing a mask? And they said, oh no, it's the safe asbestos. I'm lucky to be alive.
Did you have gloves on?
Nothing at all.
Because it can all seep into your pores and everything.
And so they eventually gave us one of those masks that you buy in Home Base, one of those things that look like a coffee filter, and you just put it over, it had absolutely no effect whatsoever, other than it made it hard to breathe. All the asbestos dust was marching straight through it. I can't believe I've lived so long. The National Coal Board, thank you so much. And if I could remember which temping agency sent me down there, then I'd tell you, but I can't. Won't be able to sue them. With my last dying breath, they'll get away with it, because I can't, I can't finger them, so to speak. Anyway, cycle lanes. You're quite right. I didn't finish my thought. Back to wherever it was, North Yorkshire. where it's not like they've got enough problems as it is. Edwin Williams, the county's transport strategy manager, confirmed that work on the path cost around £100,000. If you've come in late, then what they did in North Yorkshire was build a cycle path that was 200 yards long. Yards? Do they still have yards in Yorkshire? Oh, yeah, I bet they do. That wasn't even close, was it? Not even remotely close. Not even do they speak like that in Lancashire. It wasn't even, just across the border. Awful.
Not as good as your Shabazz.
No. And read into that what you will. He said the path needs to be at least... Wait a minute, I haven't finished setting this up. OK, so they did a 200-yard path. A yard's about a metre, isn't it? More or less, no one cares. It cost £100,000. £100,000 for 200 yards. And if you work that out, that's £20,000 a foot. And Lucy's thinking, is it? He said the path needs to be at least 2.5 metres wide to be deemed safe, and when that's not the case, we're asking riders to dismount, as the cost of widening the path would be too great. But they already built the path. They built the path, and then they realised, oh, it's not big enough. So this cycle path that we built, you'll have to get off your bike and push. And doesn't that just about sum it up? And you know whose fault that is? That's right. There's a cycle path near me that is, I swear, 6 feet long. In the middle of a generally unsullied pavement, there appears, as though from nowhere, a cycle path that is 6 feet long. It's not attached to anything, and it's got white lines at the end of it so that cyclists can pause to let pedestrians cross. It's about 2 foot wide and 6 feet long. So, in order to get to it, you'd have had to have dropped in from space. You'd have had to have a lorry bring you there and position your bike on the cycle lane, and then when you're ready to move off, you put your bike back on the lorry, then you move off. £10 million that cost. Let's have one in Lee. Where's Lee, Geraldine?
Lee, that's South East 12, Catford, Lewisham.
Oh, Catford? Say no more.
And they know Lewisham. No, I was just saying, your programme's fantastic. I'm doing the ironing. It's a hot evening, but even so, and you're just cracking me up. I just love your thinking. You just think outside the box, don't you?
Are you being rude? I've got no idea what that means. I think outside my box.
No, outside the box.
Does that mean I'm out of my head? Like Keith Richards, I'm out of my tree. What are you wearing, Geraldine?
What am I wearing? Skirt and a top.
To do the ironing, you see, because I'm curious about what people do in this hot weather, because it's a hot thing that you're doing, right? I can't stand ironing, which is why I never, ever do it.
Really, lots of people don't, but I don't mind. I quite find it relaxing, especially when I'm listening to you. And originally, I was born in Jamaica in the West Indies, so, this is my kind of weather.
Right.
I've been there for longer than I've...
You're perfectly at home.
Yes.
Now, you're not one of these people that irons towels.
No, I don't do them. I'd iron the sheets, but not the towels.
Suddenly, it sounds like I'm talking to Pete Doherty. No, don't do that. No, I wouldn't go that far, man. Not even Pete Doherty would go so far as to do towels.
I don't know, he might.
I do a couple of towels a week, but I'm trying to cut down.
I should have said yes then, shouldn't I? I should have told you I iron the socks as well.
Do you iron socks?
No.
Do you iron underwear?
Yeah.
Oh, no. No one's ever going to see it, Geraldine. And if they do, then they're not worried about creases.
Yeah, if they're cotton, and when they're ironed, they look much better.
In the heat of the moment, nobody's going to be thinking, oh, they're a bit creased.
Oh, dear. It's lovely. Anyway, I love your voices, Lucy's, and somebody who now and again you hear his voice, not yours, the other person, the other male person.
Yeah, Clive.
Clive. Is it Clive? Really?
Not Clive Ball.
No, I know Clive Ball. I like his programme as well, but I didn't realise there were...
I don't know, you're spreading your affection a little thin here, Geraldine.
No, but you are funny. It's lovely. We need your sort of humour, and I think you've made a fantastic feature. You know?
Make a fantastic feature. Well, like a fountain at the end of the garden. This show is like estate agency speak. This show benefits from a fabulous feature. Me. Well, the best luck with your ironing. How much of a pile have you got?
I've finished now.
You're finished. Good on you. It's 20 to 11 that you'd be ironing now is just...
Yeah, but I've just been in the garden watering.
Now, hang on a minute.
What?
Whoa, Nelly, watering?
Yes, why not? I'm allowed to water the garden.
You are not.
I am, as long as I don't use the hose pipe. There's a hose pipe ban.
Have you got a Bowser? Is it a Bowser or a Bowser?
Well, I don't know.
You know, Tony Blair...
that thing they use... Actually,
it's like this government, they're just spending all of their time trying to think of ways to get around complying with the laws that they're insisting that everybody else does.
Yeah, and then he put his finger over it, didn't he?
Excuse me?
Sorry. Well, it wasn't a hose pipe. Whatever it was called, the gentleman had his finger over this pipe, and it said it wasn't actually spraying, it was doing something else.
Oh, it was, yeah.
That's what I read.
Like the American military, it was a precision attack, yeah. It was an exact strike.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, great stuff.
Anyway, thanks a lot, Geraldine.
Yeah, I shall keep listening now.
All right, ta-ta.
Bye-bye then.
This is LBC 97.3. I'm Nick Abbott. Shall we go early? Sue!
Hi, Nick.
Hey, Sue.
I have a 2-bedroom cottage.
Nonsense.
Not a flat.
A cottage that's only got 2 bedrooms?
Yes.
Is it made of gingerbread?
Almost. It's built in 1840, and it's 5 minutes from the centre of darkest Gravesend, and nobody knows it's there.
What? No one knows it's there.
In the last muse,
including the owner.
Gravesend.
She's had her keys in her hand for the last 5 years. She's got no idea where she left it.
Oh, dear.
Well, that sounds delightful. Has it got a thatched roof?
No.
Well, I don't know, do I? That's not such a stupid thing to say, is it?
You what?
That's not so silly, is it?
Well, no. In darkest Gravesend, nothing has thatched roofs.
You know what? I've got no idea what Gravesend...
have you?
No, I haven't.
No, it's not associated with cottages or mews like
or
mine.
niceness in any way.
No, not
Gravesend.
really.
Well, it's called Gravesend. What do you expect? It's for people at the end of their lives. If the graves are at the end of your street, and it's like you're in a queue, basically.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, it sounds delightful. Have you got a garden at the back and the front?
I have a tiny, tiny garden at the back, and we all have plants out the front because we have a courtyard. It's a communal courtyard with the 10 cottages, so we have plants and roses around the door and everything at the front.
Well, doesn't that sound lovely? Isn't she painting a picture? How much is it?
I am literally painting a picture of it at the moment.
How much do you want for it, Sue?
About 140.
How's that sound, Lucy? 140 grand, it's a sale.
Brilliant.
Ding.
Not grand, just pounds, you know. We're not doing big here.
Oh, not 140 grand, 140 pounds.
140 pounds.
I'll take it. Never mind about Sue, about Lucy. I'm having it.
The other thing is, you know, people say about doing ironing. I don't do ironing.
No, good
I
for
wear
you.
clothes that don't need ironing. You know, I mean, like a little top and a pair of jeans don't need ironing, do they? Or in the winter, lots of sweaters and tops and jeans don't need ironing.
Well, specifically jeans don't need ironing at all, ever. Anybody who irons
Who irons
jeans has got
jeans?
something wrong with them. Am I right?
Yes, they're anally retentive. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Dear.
Well, that's a perfectly reasonable psychological profile.
I mean, for goodness sake.
That's a Freudianism, that is, anally retentive. Yeah. It's when people say anal, and they think that's what they're saying, because anally retentive and anally expulsive are two opposite personalities.
Yes,
so
yes.
So when they say, oh, that's a bit anal of me, they're not actually saying anything at all.
They're not saying anything, no, but we we could continue this discussion.
But let's not.
Let's not. No, we won't go down that road, as a friend of mine says.
Have you got a cat?
Yes. Now, 1 cat is normal, 2 cats is 3 cats is yeah, I know, a bit mad. I've got 3.
3 cats.
3 cats is borderline sort of crazy, isn't it, really?
Well, you know, 400 years ago, you'd be on a ducking stool right about now.
Definitely. I still would today, because I'm into alternative medicine, you know.
Oh, no.
I paint, I'm a bit of a troubadour because I sing,
See, the people the consultants in the NHS would be very upset. Alternative medicine, you're not, it's like you're as nutty as Prince Charles.
Absolutely.
That stuff doesn't work. I mean, if you were actually properly ill, would you go and pick a nettle and boil it for a cup of tea, or would you go to your doctor and he'd give you an actual
nettle,
pill?
actually, because I distrust the way that medicine is going so seriously, and I'm quite serious about this, that I would distrust going into hospital. I used to work as a pharmacist. I was in regular medicine. And my distrust is so deep that I'm very wary of going near it.
Well, you say that now in the full blush of health, but if you were properly ill...
yeah, I mean, I've been ill quite a few times.
I mean, would you redirect the ambulance to the middle of a field?
No. If I need a blood transfusion, if I need surgery, or if I need resuscitation, I'll go to a hospital.
Can I ask not to be resuscitated? If I fall asleep during the course of this programme, Lucy, don't resuscitate me, all right? Anyway, you've painted us a really beautiful picture there, Sue. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Ta-ra.
Bye.
A 2-bedroom cottage, eh? Just what you're looking for.
That's exactly it. But not in Gravesend.
I never heard of such a thing. I mean, it would only be... how can you have a 2-bedroomed... House?
Yes. Well, I found one.
A terraced house?
No, it was a semi-detached.
A semi-detached.
Semi-detached. Yeah. Had a lovely garden and everything. And a bathroom upstairs.
And now, was the bathroom... Is it big enough to have previously been a bedroom?
No. It was purely just a bathroom, but the loo was separate, but I was going to knock the wall down and have a nice bathroom. I'd made all the plans.
Oh.
Oh, I had a little cry today. Felt better then.
Because looking for a place is the worst thing in the world, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it's just tedious. And actually, I've looked at so many horrible properties in London, and it's depressing how many kind of new builds are so characterless.
Oh, new builds, forget about it.
Yeah.
New builds are rubbish. Property developers should all be shot. All of them.
It's
and
so
I really
frustrating.
mean that. Because they're putting up buildings that don't have any space in them, for a start. I mean, I know that we have to cram the houses in, but seriously, we've got the smallest average living space in Europe. Can you believe that? I mean, there's countries that can barely scrape up electricity, and they're living better than we are. We're packing ourselves in, and not only that, we've got tiny, tiny little windows because of government regulations that say you have to be, thermally insulated. And so instead of doing the proper thing like they do in other countries and putting double glazing in, developers who don't want to spend a single solitary penny on these little houselets that they're trying to flog off, instead of putting double glazing big windows, which is what people want, what do you want? Light and space, which are the first two things that anybody wants in their domicile, light and space. So what are they giving you? No space, no light.
Yeah.
Tiny little windows you can barely even see through, just so there's not much glass, so they don't have to insulate them. Awful. And we're making all of the same mistakes that we did in the 60s. We're throwing up... It's like I've said before. You go down the Thames, take a boat down the Thames, and it's one faceless... a block after the next, in which nobody really lives. They just stay for 6 months. Nobody lives in any of those blocks. Every single inch of the Thames, from Kew down to down through the city and along to the Docklands, is populated with those. And they're all so dreadfully ordinary. I mean, if they're not ordinary, then they're downright ugly. The ugliest, the flat-out ugliest of the lot. Can you guess?
No. Which one?
Whichever architect drew this, he should be on that ducking stool. It's purple and pink. I think it's purple and pink. And it's right next to one of the most magnificent edifices in the whole of London, which, by the way, is still scarily unfinished. Battersea Power Station. Look at Battersea Power Station, then go one east, and there's a purple and pink building. Purple! And it's not even a nice purple. Not even the purple that you would like to have maybe as a suit, if you were Jonathan Ross. It's hideous. How they got planning permission for that is an absolute mystery. I mean, there must be... I mean, how would you go about that? If you want to make the tiniest little change to the house that you're living in, then you absolutely flat out know that the planning department will say no. If you want to build a house that's modern and interesting, not mock Tudor? Definitely not. But they can throw up any kind of rubbish they like with, as long as it's got a window that opens out onto an outside space, even though you're sharing your balcony with the next door flat, which has never really appealed. In all these buildings, they've all got balconies right enough, but they're divided off from the next door's flat by like a thin sheet of glass. So basically you're sharing your outside space with somebody, which means essentially you can never use it. They don't have cupboards, and they haven't got any space in them, and they're throwing them up over and over and over again. And now they've populated the actual banks of the Thames, and they've got practically no room left anymore. They've moved one back, and they'll build even bigger ones. Tiny little flatlets that nobody really wants to live in. And so it's a completely transient population, which means there's no sense of community. So who's it actually benefiting? Is it, and all these planners are going around saying, oh yes, that's exactly what we want here. A wasteland. Yes, that's what this area needs. Something that's completely oblivious to its surroundings, and everybody who already lives here will hate and won't even be invited into. Yeah, just what we're looking for. Planners. Okay, so far, estate agents, financial advisors and planners, they're all nailed against the wall, and all those knives the police have been collecting from those nice hoodies, we can use them and just throw them at them. Or is that saying the wrong thing? Let's go with Tallulah.
Hey, hello, you.
Hey, it's the woman with a parrot.
Budgie. Don't start that again. You know it's a budgie. Don't you fool me.
Parrot, budgie, there's no difference.
Size matters. I want to tell you about my absolute... I still can't believe... still can't believe it's not butter, but I still can't believe it's true. My beginner's luck of getting a flat, unbelievable. When I decided to find out my boyfriend is very boring, I just went for it, and I did not have a clue where to start.
At the very beginning, it's a very good place to start.
Yeah, because, you see, I'm German. In Germany, you normally don't buy. And,
yes, that's interesting, isn't it? In most of Europe, people don't buy. They always rent. And here, where ever since Thatcher, Maggie, we're obsessed with buying, because it's the way to riches. And right enough, if you got in at the right time, in the right place, it is.
Yeah, but definitely I did not have a single clue, and I just went window shopping, looking for something. And actually, the second flat that I've seen, I decided that's the one.
And what did your parrot say?
At that time, the idea didn't even exist. There was a budgie in Germany that I left behind, but I thought I would have one again.
Oh, that's awful. You left it behind? What, to fend for itself?
No, wait. I had a budgie. Then I had a boyfriend that I met on tour with a German band. I mean, an English band supporting... a German band supporting an English band.
Yeah, what were they called?
Uriah Heep.
Uriah Heep.
Yeah,
this is an actual real-life rocker here, ladies and gentlemen. Uriah Heep.
Rock and roll!
Anybody in this audience know what Uriah Heep do? No.
Well, whatever. I don't care. But that brought me over to Germany, so I left the budgie behind. Then I thought this guy became very boring anyway, and then the second flat, I thought that's the one, and I still didn't have a clue. I went to the agency. I said, so, what do I do now? And then, actually it was as stupid as that. And then they told me, oh, we can advise you, you know.
Oh, yeah, I bet they are rubbing their hands with glee. Here's a woman who's got no clue. We're going to take her to the cleaners.
They lured me into a meeting where they tried to get me basically the loan from. And when I was sitting in that meeting for 5 minutes, my senses was telling me, hey, there's something seriously wrong there.
And so what percentage are you paying? 56%.
Well, I had no idea. All I knew was a feeling told me, don't do it. Get out of here as fast as you can. And I did.
They'll fleece you for all the money you've got, and you'll end up eating your parrot.
Well, then I went to my
What does parrot taste like, by the way? Probably like chicken.
Everything tastes
like chicken, yeah.
At least there's not much meat on there, so you need a few for a meal.
Yeah, you need a couple. You need like a brace, at least, for a snack. It's the snack you can eat between meals without ruining your appetite. Hey, listen, Tallulah, you've called it a bad time, because we've got to... If I don't take these ads now, put me up another time that I can take them and go into the news. Or do I absolutely have to take them now? Lucy, your choice.
58.
58.
58, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, we've got 1 minute, Tallulah.
Well, all I can say is I made the best blind steps ever in my life because it's a fantastic flat. I bought it with my own bank and absolutely fabulous.
This is a woman with her own bank. She's taking a wild stab. This is the one that we've been hearing about in the news all the time. She's been terrorising the country, and she's got a bank behind her.
Exactly.
So, where do you live then?
Near Woodford.
Woodford?
Yeah.
Where's
and
that?
It's really because it's the area which is affected by the Olympics. So everything gets...
Oh, right. Well, you're sitting on a gold mine there, Tallulah. It's either going to be a gold mine or it'll be a gigantic hole in the ground that you'll never be able to get rid of because they're going to be building 10 million houselets all around you.
I know, but I think my flat has increased 5 times by now.
Huh.
Ha! I don't want you to be jealous, but it's...
No, I'm not. I don't want to live out there, but thanks a lot, Tallulah, and the best of luck with your, budgie. Yes.
Lots of...
Nick Abbott.
So have you been giving this list any thought? The Sports Stars Intelligence List. I've given you 12 sports, and you have to rank them in order of intelligence. And you've probably, Lucy, being the smart woman that you are, separated them out into middle-class sports and working-class sports. Am I right? That would be the first thing that you would do.
Sort of, yes. I've done them all.
You've done them all?
Yeah, well, it's taken a stab at it. Do you want me to give you my bottom one?
Stab. Could you pick another word? We're under a great pressure here as a nation. People are falling like being slaughtered like lambs out there. A wild stab in the dark. It's like living in the outskirts of Manchester, isn't it? All right, well, which do you think is the most intelligent?
Rowing.
Rowing is the wrong answer. Oh, no, you failed at the first fence. So the press are really looking for violence now, aren't they? They're seeking it out, and they'll go and report on it wherever they can find it, and they'll ramp it up so that it seems like it's World War III. And all of the papers had some sort of really inflammatory language. I think one of the posters for the Evening Standard says, "England fans invade Germany." I mean, come on. Invade. How about just go to, swarm into, visit, invade. And so yes, so it'll be that, and it'll be a lot of woe is us, we're useless, we'll never make it without Wayne Rooney. Does he speak weirder than any human you've ever heard? Where does he come from? He's just kind of, he's just soft, isn't he? Like he's a soft person. I don't mean that. I don't mean soft in the head.
What, you mean in a nice way?
Well, I do. He's kind of like, he's not like a football person. Like he should be, head of the Tate Modern or something. He just doesn't seem hard enough to be a football manager, does he? Sam Allardyce, now there's a football manager. It looks like he could chew your head off. Alex Ferguson. Looks like his head will explode any day. I'd love to have been at the ringside at a fight between Sven and Alex Ferguson. I mean, Sven must have just stood there and just... if it was on the phone, right, Alex Ferguson would be screaming at him, and he wouldn't have been able to get in a word in edgeways, would Sven? Yes.
Do you think his voice changes?
Yes, but... I wonder if he knows Shabazz. But, So anyway, we're going to be rid of him soon anyway, and we've got, what's his name coming in? I don't know, nobody's really sure about him either, are they, really? I mean, he wasn't first choice, poor bloke. That's not the kind of way you want to start a new job. Everybody's thinking, So before you even started, everybody doesn't like you. Really? Him? But it was a pretty poor performance, let's face it. We've got to do a lot better than that. Mind you, it was the first game, nervous. We didn't have Rooney. And he calls everybody by their last name all the time. I know it's a football thing, but in a press conference the other day, he was going about Rooney this and Rooney that, and just call him Wayne. I mean, I know it's an awful first name. It makes him sound Simple, really, doesn't it? Wayne. Who would call their son Wayne? Mind you, Brad Pitt and Jennifer, what's her name? Oh, no, he's not going out with Jennifer, is he?
Angelina.
Anymore? Oh, the whole country is crying into their handkerchiefs. Brad and Jenny... Janet... What's her name?
Angelina.
No, the previous model.
Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston. Branifer, or whatever, or Jedifan, or whatever they called the couple. Was it
Branifer.
Branifer, yeah. Oh, they're split up. Wasn't everybody upset? Oh, and Lucy nodded.
Well, no, I didn't mean I was, but people were, weren't they? In showbiz land.
No, not in showbiz land. In showbiz land, they couldn't care less. But in showbiz land, they're probably rubbing their hands together. Because in showbiz land, no one will wish you good luck unless you've got 6 months to live. And that's true. Everybody hates everybody else in showbiz land. Don't let anybody... because in showbiz land, it's not like a company will open up and there's all new jobs, or a company will open a new department and there's all new jobs. There's a finite number of jobs in showbiz land, and to get one, someone else has to get fired. So that's what it's like in showbiz land. Never let your daughter go on stage. Anyway, what was I talking about? What?
We were going to do who was the number one sporting.
Oh, yeah, we'll come to that.
Oh.
We've got a list of 12 sports, and they're ranked in, apparently, some expert has ranked them in order of their educational abilities. And those sports are cricket, tennis, rugby union, rugby league. Why they split those up, no one has any idea. Football, apart from Clive.
Yeah, well, rugby league is a northern thing, and they're not as clever up north.
Well, that's true. Like Camden, north of Camden, awful people. Hampstead, terrible. South of the river, that's where all the intelligence is, am I right? Rugby league, football, snooker, cycling, rowing, athletics, horse racing, golf and boxing. Now, you'd think that you'd be able to work out which is the most intelligent from that list. Not the most intelligent sport, but the sport which has the most intelligent participants, according to this silly survey. A study found. Now, I love the way that the newspapers just get this... it just comes off the fax machine, and they go, right, print that. And what do? Just sit around smoking fags and drinking whiskey all day, and then just whatever comes off the fax machine, oh, yeah, stick that in then, George. And then they just run it off to the... do they have printers anymore? Or does it all just magically appear on paper? What a silly question. Of course they have printers. But in my mind, it's like print setters, you know, where they're clanging the machines and like the front page with Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon. Brilliant movie. We should show that now. Have you got it? But they don't do that anymore. They just hit a button and it disappears to, I don't know, they probably make it in China. And they fly it over, and, that's why sometimes there's typos. Poor Chinese people got no idea what we're talking about. Chantel, never heard of her. Anyway, every day you read in the paper, a study says, well, a study of how many people, for instance? 6 people. And with what statistical significance does this study come to these conclusions? We've got no idea, but they print it in black and white as though that's the word of God. And they don't check it. Of course they don't check it. There's no such thing as journalism anymore. No one checks anything. That fake sheikh is probably the only journalist left in the country, and that's not really much of journalism, is it? Is he still in business, or has he been unmasked by what's his name?
Galloway and
by Gorgeous George, yeah. Because he threatened to unmask him, didn't he? Surely there's pictures of this fake sheikh around. I mean, if a sheikh came along and said he wanted to buy your house, Lucy, as long as and if you wouldn't mind sharing some of your sexual secrets. Well, what would you say?
Sure, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. Makes perfect sense to me. Anyway, those two sports have been ranked for intelligence. Guess what's number 1?
Cricket.
Cricket is the wrong answer. No. But you see now, what you're doing is you're guessing all the middle-class sports, assuming that middle-class people are more intelligent than working-class people. What? That's an awful thing to say. It's true. Let's go with... Well, statistically, it's bound to be more or less accurate. Don't you think? I mean, I know that people don't want to hear this, but it's bound to be more or less accurate because that's how you become a middle-class person, by using your brain to get work, right? Therefore, it's not such a... it's just common sense. It won't stop me going to jail for having said it. Let's go to Jessica. Oh, Jessica.
Hello.
Hello, Jessica.
Hiya.
What's up?
Nothing, actually. I was just giving you a call because it's the first time I've had a chance to listen to your show since the last time I called you.
Oh, right. And when was that?
I don't know, about a month ago.
A month ago. And you live in the Docklands?
Well, I don't live in the Docklands. I work in the Docklands. I live in the north. So really, I could be pretty much offended on pretty much everything we've spoken about tonight so far. Like, where to start?
I know.
I mean, the Docklands is a strange place, I do admit. Canary Wharf is odd.
I like it a lot.
I like it, but it's almost like a little principality.
Yes,
like
exactly.
Monaco,
It's like not London.
Yeah, I mean, it's a private estate, so they can pretty much do what they want. There's little signs everywhere saying they can kick you out at any point.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and they will too.
Well, they might do it.
If you show up with a skateboard, it'll be the last skateboarding you ever do.
Yeah. And I took offence at the other guy saying that Northerners were thick.
I know.
Pretty much what he said.
Clive, please, will you pull yourself together?
Yeah, exactly. But he's a Southerner born and bred. And I also heard you saying that you'd watched Big Brother, which I'm deeply disappointed at.
So's a lot of people. A lot of people have been giving me grief about Big Brother. Yeah. Oh, come on, the entire nation is gripped.
Well, because the last time I spoke to you, you claimed that you'd never watch Big Brother. You wouldn't watch it for a single second, and within about 3 minutes you decided that you were going to watch it. And
don't believe a word I say. You're quite right.
Exactly. I'd be more kind of happy if you'd have said, no, I haven't watched it at all.
I'm very untrustworthy, Jessica.
I sense that.
I make myself suspicious.
Yeah, just second show in for me, and I sense that.
But I'd never watched it before. I really steer clear of all these stupid reality programmes because there's just so many of them, and life's too short. Who can bear it?
It's boring.
And there's far too many good programmes on as it is to watch without getting hooked on something that's on for an hour a night. I mean, I avoid hour-long drama programmes, you know, like those hour-long things, because I've never watched any of those. I haven't watched The Green Wing. What do they call it? The West Wing.
The West Wing.
You know, everybody says, "Oh, it's brilliant." Exactly. Everyone says, "Oh, it's brilliant. You should watch it." But it's on an hour a week. I haven't. You know, the only thing that I'm watching right now, and it's just ended, Prison Break.
Okay.
Hands up! How many women have been watching Prison Break? Oh, that's none. It's the least female. And Lucy, I've got even no idea what I'm talking about. It's on Channel 5. You wouldn't sully yourself by pressing button 5 on your remote, would you? Good grief.
I wouldn't really
certainly not.
Wouldn't go that far. No, it's great. It's absolutely phenomenally good, and is the least female-friendly programme I think I've ever seen on television.
Well, then I won't tune in.
Good for you.
What I was going to talk to you about was, have you ever shamed yourself in front of someone that you really admire? And though you'd like to let it go, you can't quite let it go, even though the person that you've shamed yourself in front of has obviously let it go instantly.
Well, there aren't many people that I really admire, but one of them is a talk show host called Neil Rogers in America, and I made the mistake of actually meeting him in person. And there's another opportunity for me to meet my other all-time hero coming up on Thursday. I'll tell you about that in a second. But I went to sit on his show. This guy is a genius, absolute copper-bottomed. He's the funniest man I've ever heard.
Well, who is he? I've never heard of him.
He's a talk show host who does a show in Miami. He lives in Canada now, but he does a show in Miami.
Okay.
And he's on for 4 hours every day, and you've never heard anything like it. This bloke, he doesn't actually have a co-host, but he talks for 4 hours, and sometimes he doesn't take a call at all. He'll talk off the top of his head for 4 hours, and it's just constantly hilarious. He's a genius. So I went. I called him up, said, "Oh, I'm over in Miami. Can I come and see the show?" Because I'd sort of chatted with people who worked on the show a little while before, and I sat in there laughing my face off. And in the end, he came round, introduced himself, and I just turned into, I don't know, like an 11-year-old girl being presented with the Bay City Rollers for the first time. I was just like, and he looked at me like, "Oh God, another one of these," and he turned on his heels and left. Deeply embarrassing.
I know, and there's no way back, is there?
No.
I mean, today I bumped into someone that I really admire. He's an actor. He's called Simon Callow. Have you ever heard of this actor?
Simon Callow, yes. He's a queen of the old school, isn't he?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
But I bumped into him at Victoria Station, of all places. and he was behind me while I was trying to use the
He's
machine.
behind
He's
you.
behind me, yes, good if I wasn't a bloke. But I was at the ticket machine. And
What did you hear? What she just said?
Yeah, I don't think
Oh, back up a second, Jessica. I think that went by the people through there. Did you hear what she just said? That was
something to be libelous.
shocking.
But he was behind me in the queue for a ticket at Victoria Station. I was using this automated ticket machine that I just couldn't understand.
You'd think that someone like Simon Callow would just be able to waft through ticket gates wherever he pleases. He's Simon Callow, for crying out
I couldn't
loud.
quite handle the machine, and he said to me, he tried to give me advice, and I clocked straight away that it was Simon Callow because I'm quite a big fan. And I thought, I'm just embarrassing myself in front of Simon Callow here.
A fan of Simon Callow?
Yeah, I think he's a great actor.
Well, yeah, but a fan, though. I mean, is he the sort of person who has fans?
Well, I think he is, because I read his book about being an actor.
Did you scream? Did you go, ah?
No, not at all. I was very cool and collected. But I felt like saying to him, I'm the person that bought your book and actually went to drama school for a year and then packed it in, but never mind. But I thought, I can't go into all that because he's catching the train. But I made a complete fool of myself in front of him, and I said to him, are you in a hurry? And he said, yes. And I said, well, go in front of me, Mr. Callow.
Oh.
So he obviously knew that I knew who he was. And then afterwards he said to me, good luck with that machine. And I just thought of all the reasons and of all the times that I'd have loved to meet Simon Callow and for him to wish me good luck. It's not trying to buy a ticket at Victoria Station.
Yeah, he was busy, dear.
Yeah, and I almost wanted to follow him and say, look...
Oh, that would have been a good idea.
like that, but of course that would have just put embarrassment on an embarrassment.
Yeah, you could have followed him onto the train.
Yeah.
Right to his house.
Well, I wouldn't...
You could have taken a deck chair and just set it up outside his house. Hello, every time he leaves.
But it's a bit awful, as you obviously have experienced yourself, to embarrass yourself in front of someone that you like.
Yeah, well, my first rock and roll hero was, we've got an ad break to do. Oh, I'll tell you about this afterwards. Hey, that was excellent, Jessica. Thanks a lot, dear. Don't embarrass yourself in public anymore. Will you do that for me? Excellent. This is LBC 97.3. So it's the Duke of Edinburgh's birthday today. Happy birthday, Your Honour? What do you call him? I know what I call him. Your worship? Sir? Mom? I've got no idea. What do you call him? I know you call Your Highness. Really?
You're right, he's HRH.
Is he a Highness? Because he's not the King, he's the Queen's consort.
No, he's HRH.
His Royal Highness. Yeah, but that's not how you'd... You wouldn't say, hello, His Royal Highness. Oh, you'd say, Your Royal Highness, wouldn't you? Whatcha, mate?
Grandad.
In fact, you don't want to act like a middle-class person because we'll be all bowing and scraping and trying to elevate ourselves to his level. You want to be like a working-class person because working class and upper class, I've read this. I have no knowledge of this personally, but I read it. They're almost joined at the hip because they don't, neither of them care. Upper-class people, they're always wandering around with jumpers with holes in and corduroy trousers. All of the corduroy trousers in all the world are being worn flat on the bottoms of upper-class people. And working-class people wouldn't be bothered with any of that doffing the cap business. They'd be, all right, mate. And he'd be like, oh, it's awful people. So he's celebrating by doing that, and that was on the news. He said the Chuki Embra, which is what we used to call him in Edinburgh, because there was the Duke of Edinburgh Awards scheme, which, a lot of kids at my school in Edinburgh used to go in for. And it wasn't the Duke of Edinburgh Awards. The way they pronounce it up there is the Chuki Embra. So the Chuki Embra was engaging in his favourite pastimes on his birthday. It's his birthday, right? Or did I get that wrong? His favourite pastime, insulting Chinese and Indian people. He'd throw a few out. He's a card, isn't he, eh? Happy birthday, Your Honour, or whatever it is they call you. So which sports stars do you... Not stars, but which sports participators... That's not right, but you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Are the most intelligent out of cricket, tennis, rugby union or rugby league. One's south and one's north. You can take from that which you will. Football, snooker, cycling, rowing, athletics... horse racing, golf, and boxing.
Well...
Yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Well, I said mine, but you said no.
Well, guess again.
Okay, rugby union.
No!
Well, you only get one guess per go. You're failing terribly at
I know,
this.
it's
Rugby
bad,
union.
isn't it?
They're just, is there any steroids in rugby union? Does anything that there might be a little steroid taking in rugby? Do we think so?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, guys don't come that big.
Well, they do.
Men are not that big. They aren't. In America they are, but not here.
It's the funny neck, isn't it? They have
It's
no
the neck and the
It's just
shoulders and the
chunky.
arms and the legs and then everything about them. It looks like, you know, when you've got a widescreen television and something is broadcast in 4:3 and you pop it to wide, everyone suddenly is stretched. That's what they look like. They look like stretched munchkins.
Big potatoes.
Yeah, but great big potato-faced, cauliflower-eared, steroidal freaks running into each other. What kind of a game is that? It's a silly game. Football is what they want to be playing. Rugby, it's silly. It's just silly, like cricket.
Macho, isn't it?
Like cricket. Cricket was on the TV the other day, and so we were being persuaded that cricket was the nation's new love when they played some team, I've got no idea, it was probably India, and we won over 5 days. A game that lasts 5 days. I mean, well, how relaxed and how little to do you have to invent a game that lasts 5 days?
And then they draw.
Yeah, exactly. And not even unemployed people have got that much time. That is ridiculous. And so we were being persuaded that the entire nation was in love with cricket because we'd won some silly match or other. And I thought, no, they're not. No one is interested in cricket at all, ever. The only people who are interested in cricket are men who wear leather trousers and test the quality of their beer by pouring it into the top of a barrel and sitting in it. And if they stick, it's good beer. You know those nuts? The camera people? Not cameras, but CAMRA. The Campaign for Real Ale. You know those bearded, sandal-wearing nuts who are always drinking warm beer?
I've discovered a new beer, by the way.
Go on.
A Belgian beer called Fruly.
Oh, not one of these fruit things.
Yeah, strawberry. Oh, it's lush.
Come on.
Oh, it's very good. Because it doesn't taste sweet.
Why don't you just go and have a strawberry daiquiri or some girly thing like that?
Well, I
Strawberry
wouldn't like that.
beer? That's awful.
It's really good.
Cider, that's what you want to drink.
Oh, see, that's sweeter than this.
Well, it depends what you drink. I mean, some of that commercial cider that you get in most pubs is sparkly and way too sweet. So Addleston's, I discovered, there's only one pub I know that serves Addleston's. It's called the Phoenix, just by Oxford Circus there. Best pint of cider I've ever had, ever. It's great. And it's kind of cloudy, not too gassy, and not too sweet. Unfortunately, you have to be in the Phoenix while you're drinking it, which is like, that pub has got seriously something wrong with it. Because it's on the ground floor, but it feels like you're in a cellar. It's entirely black inside. It's not very welcoming. Normally stuffed full of awful people in bad suits.
Sounds a bit depressing.
Get a pint in a plastic glass, and then go and sit in Connaught Square.
Just have a pint of Fruly.
There's no grass in
Connaught
Connaught Square, that's the one that's right near there, right? That's behind John Lewis. There's no grass there, it's just a car park. Am I right? Am I thinking of the right one? Who cares? The one that they serve with ice is quite nice. They're trying everything.
Yes.
They're trying absolutely everything, because they started with a wedge of lime in a beer. Why? It's okay, it's kind of refreshing, but who came up with that idea? It's just a sales gimmick. It was, by the way, the first time you could ever buy limes in this country. We'd never seen them before. Yes, we have no bananas, used to be the refrain, but limes were a stranger to these shores until Sol brought them over, do you remember? And then suddenly every bar had limes. It's like, where did this come from? Now they've got cider that you serve with ice. Nobody ever heard of that before. But they were probably sitting down in a focus group meeting. Well, what can we serve it with? A slice of lime? No. Lemon? No. I know. Why don't we put it in an advert that you serve it over ice, and we'll sell it in a small bottle and charge twice the price. Trebles all round. Anyway, how did we get onto that?
Just because you mentioned beer. But you weren't.
Oh, cricket.
Yeah,
Nuts
cricket.
who like
Sorry,
cricket.
yes, we went off on a tangent.
And so, and that's something that we never do on this show.
No, never.
And so they played cricket on the other day, and it was on in the middle of the day, just as cricket should be. And they were going on and doing their cricketing things, and they panned to the crowd, and there wasn't any. There was no one in the crowd at all. Acres of seats with the bottom flipped up. No one there. That's how popular cricket is, and no one can persuade me otherwise. Here's one in Burton-on-Trent. Oh, I missed him. Adrian.
Yeah, all right. Before anything else, I'd just like to point out that I'm actually not stoned or drunk. Just to reassure everybody of that.
Right, this is a reference to a contest that we weren't having last week. Yeah. They decided to have on another radio station. How they're getting away with it, no one knows. Maybe no one's listening.
I mean, I think you have to be stoned or drunk now.
To listen, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I know false people on TV. Have you ever seen Alan Sugar on TV?
Well, I've seen him on television, but not on that silly You're Fired game.
No, I mean, I've not seen him on that, but, I know you can't mention commercials, and I can't remember what it is. Anyway, but it just seems like he's false, like he's emphasising everything he says. Don't you find that? It's like, just talking like he's reading. He's not talking natural.
Well, he probably is reading. He's not a presenter, is he? He's a aggressive business person.
Yeah, I never even, I mean, I heard of the company, but I've never even heard of him before, until a couple of months ago.
Amstrad, what do they actually do now?
Oh, no, because they used to be into computers.
I know.
Years ago.
But I think they got left behind, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like, he could have been a bazillionaire, but he made one mistake, and then Bill Gates hoovered up all the world's money.
Just so settled to be a billionaire instead.
That nerd.
Shame, isn't it?
Can you believe that Bill Gates has got all that? I mean, what's he doing with it? He's sitting at home doing crosswords and jigsaws. I mean, 29:15, we've got to go. You only got 15 seconds, Aid.
Oh,
do you want to come back after the news?
Yeah,
I almost never do that. Of course he does. He's thrilled beyond measure. Okay.
Okay, fine. See you after the news.
Take a deep breath and hold it. This is LBC 97.3. What kind of a person would be in a crowd and think, I'm displeased. How can I best express my displeasure? Oh, I know, I'll throw a bottle. I mean, what kind of mentality is that? You know, I see society as a boat. Are you with me, Adrian?
That's about I can breathe. Just like David Blaine.
Society is like a boat. Are you with me?
Yeah, it's sinking.
Well,
What do you mean?
kind of. Let me finish.
Yeah, okay.
Like Patricia Hewitt. Please let me finish. We're all paddling in the same direction, basically. We all want to get to the same place. It's a happy horizon that we're all paddling to, right? All of us, apart from a select few. And a select few are trying to drill holes in the boat that we're all sitting in. They're dragging us down. They want to sink us all. Now, if we were in that boat, what would be the consensus of the people that are paddling on what to do with the people that are drilling holes in the boat? I mean, if you were out in the middle of the ocean, and there were 50 of you, and you're all paddling to the horizon because there was land there, someone had spotted Bournemouth or something, and you were desperately trying to get there with your last breaths, which is kind of what society is like, and some of the people in the back were actually drilling holes in the boat so that we would sink before we got there. What would we do with the people that are drilling holes in the boat? We'd throw them over the side, right?
Yeah.
Some people aren't helping.
They should do something to help us.
Exactly. Why don't they do something to help us? And when you say that, you have to twiddle your tie as well. Laurel, it's a Laurel and Hardy thing.
Yeah. What was doing before then? It was digging Bill Gates out, wasn't we?
I'm sorry, I missed every syllable you just said. What was that?
Sorry, I'll calm down a minute. But I was digging Bill Gates a hole just before the news, and I was just thinking, that is where all the money is, isn't it, in computers?
In computers or land, yeah. It was some shocking thing the other day that said that the common market, whatever they call it these days, the European Economic Community, the farming subsidies, whoever hands out farming subsidies, are handing out something like £500,000 in subsidies to the Duke of Westminster. It's either the Duke of Westminster or one of those types who owns... basically, the centre of London is split between two people, right? As shocking as that is, it's more or less true. They've done absolutely nothing at all. They were just born into the family, and they've got billions and billions of pounds because they throw out these short leases, and that's just so shocking, isn't it? There's not many countries in the world that have this system where you buy a house or a flat on a lease, and when the lease runs out, and they always give out short leases, it's not your house anymore. Isn't that incredible? Like, what other product do you buy? You go to a shop and you buy a shirt, and they say, well, you can only have... It's £150, but you can only have it for a month. And then we'll come over and take it back. It's like even if you buy a house in this country, you're only renting it unless you get it freehold. That's just ridiculous. And they do it in order to keep us in our place, so that all the money stays with the people that have got all the money. Shocking that in this day and age, that's still the way it's done. You know, a country that's run by lawyers, you think it'd be run a bit... legally, it would be run a bit better. Apparently not. Maybe because for that very reason that it's being run by lawyers. I mean, lawyers like nothing but work for other lawyers, right?
Right. But, I mean, I've been pondering getting a job in IT or something, you know, trading up for it, but I don't know if it's worth all the stress you'd get.
Stress?
Well, don't you find computers stressful?
Yes. When they don't work. When they work, it's fine. When they don't work, then there was a moment in my life where I thought I'd actually lost my mind for a moment there. I found myself on the floor screaming like like a mad dog. I actually did do that as well, because I just went through absolute hell for about 6 months in trying to buy a new computer. You'd think it'd be simple enough. Just go to a reputable company like, let's not mention any brand names, but it starts with an S and ends in Oni.
Oh.
Not that woman that married John Lennon.
No.
And I thought, well, what's to do? Yeah, if I could try and go cheap, but no, let's buy the most expensive thing they do. £2,000 worth of shiny computer technology that worked. It worked for approximately 10 seconds. It looked great until I took it out the box. And then it just packed up completely. And then ensued 6 months of utter hell in sending it back, and it came back and it still didn't work, and then I sent it back and I tried to get the money and then I had to sue them, and on and on and on it went, and I actually found myself on the floor screaming, like insane, absolutely uncontrollable, out of my mind, freaking out.
But don't you find with a laptop, I mean, they are just like the convenient. If you lost it, it's a convenient size to jump on.
I'm not following you.
Hey, when they go wrong, your laptop, it's just convenient. You could when they go wrong, you just put it on the floor and like stamp on it.
Yeah, extreme violence and modern technology are not good bedfellows. I don't know much, but I know that.
Yeah, I mean...
And laptops don't work. Don't buy one. Buy a proper computer with lots of space. Hey, the papers have arrived. They're very early.
Oh.
I wonder what they'll be full of. Wayne Rooney.
Digging a hole for the England team, probably.
Yeah, exactly right. Digging a hole for the England team and following around... Look at the weight of... Let me feel the weight of this. This is absolutely ludicrous. These are the Sunday... This is the Sunday papers being dropped on the floor. You ready?
Right.
Good. I'm surprised you didn't put a hole in the floor, like the blood from Alien. You know, you drip a bit on the floor and it goes right the way through.
There's shockwaves going all across the
Yeah,
wall.
exactly, yeah. That small quake you felt? 8.6 on the rectum scale. My fault. Sorry about that.
Okay, well, I think I'm about spent.
You're spent. Okay, time for a lie down. Thanks, Adrian.
Okay, cheers then.
Ta-ta.
Bye.
Right, so the papers. I'm going to quiz you later on. Hey, Lucy. Yo, Lucy. Oh, no.
Yeah.
What's happened?
Heather Mills McCartney.
Oh, no.
Exactly. She's on the front page again.
If I can call you back, I will.
Again. Oh, they were trailing this. I thought this was going to be in the News of the World, but of course, if it's in the News of the World, then the Mirror has got it too, because they just wait till the first copy of the News of the World comes out. Or maybe they got spies on the inside. I bet they do. I bet newspapers have spies that are working on the inside of other papers, so that no one gets a scoop ever. Because as soon as they got the story, then the other paper will be right round, and they'll just copy it out. Because that's what most newspaper journalism is: copying. The right button on the mouse is the most useful journalistic tool they've got. Copy, paste. That's all they do. I'm Heather's porno lover. We find Lady Macca's sex photos partner. Don't you find that this is...
The curly-haired German?
Apparently so, yeah. Don't you find that this is a little... he has curly... He's like a perm. Right? That's what you were referring to?
Yeah, that's it.
Don't you find that this is a little suspicious. This all happened 20 years ago. You aware of that? They've had this for 20 years. Either that, or it was just delivered to them. Huh. Isn't that funny? I've got pages of this. I'll go into today's papers after midnight, because it's tomorrow, right? After midnight it'll be tomorrow. Even though it will technically be today. Right. Paul McCartney, brave Sir Paul, has hit his lowest ebb for years since learning of his estranged wife's secret porn past, a worried pal says. And whenever they say that, whenever they don't name anybody, a worried pal or a close source, so they're just making it up, right? No, there's no such person exists. The 63-year-old Beatles legend. Wasn't he 64 today? Wasn't he 64? Isn't he 64 today? Because they were going on about the song, When I'm 64. Happy birthday, Sir Paul. Oh, she's Googling it. You'll get what's Macca's birthday? You'll get a lot of sites at the top of Google that says, yes, Macca's birthday, we have that information. Would you like to buy Macca's birthday? This way, please. And when you go to those sites, it doesn't have anything to do with what you were asking for. I hate that. Google has got to sort that out. Sergey Brin, get on with it, mate. Stop skating around your offices on one of those silly scooters and put the Diet Coke down. The 63-year-old Beatles legend, whose beloved first Mrs. Linda died in 1998, aged just 56, looked extremely tired. Well, he's 64. What do you expect? As he visited Liverpool Performing Arts School in his first public engagement since The Sun unearthed pornographic pictures of Heather Mills McCartney. No. Huh. So Paul McCartney's out there doing good work for charity and school and kids and so on, and meanwhile his estranged wife is being plastered all over the papers in naughty and naked poses. And aren't we finding much of this a little suspicious? I mean, the entire country's ganging up on this woman, and they're treating Paul McCartney like he's got, not only was he in wings, but he's got wings and a halo. No one's that nice. I mean, if he'd given all of his money away, doesn't he have something like £1 billion in the bank? Doesn't he make like £100,000 a second, something just for sitting there and having a fag? If he'd given all of his money away, if he'd sold his farm for, kids to go and camping in their summer holidays, and then maybe yes. But he hasn't, has he? Doesn't he still have all of that? What the hell's he going to do with all that money? So he's not a saint. He surely isn't.
He's not 64 either.
Is he?
His birthday's not till June the 18th.
Oh, well, like I said, I take that happy birthday thing back.
You never played it for me.
When's your birthday?
It was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, not going to play it. Well, you should have told me.
I told you the week before.
Oh, well, I'm supposed to remember. Have we met? I'm supposed to remember that?
It's such a girl thing. They tell you the week before and 2 weeks after.
Exactly
but
right.
But never on the day. They want you to remember on the day.
Well, more than that, they want you to feel guilty because they know you're going to forget. And then they'll have one over on you. That was awful of you, Lucy. The way you treat me. Anyway, back to brave Sir Paul. But despite his exhaustion, the rocker was determined not to miss the long-standing appointment and spent 4 hours with pupils. Mark Featherstone Whitty, Sir Paul's business partner and chief executive of the Liverpool, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, he's out there doing the public good, right, is Sir Paul. His halo following him closely behind, surrounded in a white light. Everywhere he goes, it's like, that music, and beams of sunlight are coming through clouds. And on and on. I've got so much of this stuff. Lady Mucker's partner in porn is set to tell the world they had passionate sex over and over again after the cameras had stopped clicking. Exclusive by Victoria Newton. She probably doesn't speak like that, does she? The curly-haired male model is hoping to bag thousands of pounds by selling his story of how he did it for real with Heather Mills. And on and on, and it's going. So, and they're also in the court case. Of course, it's going to affect the court case because now the judge is going to, in what is in porno magazine, and when he sees it, his wiggle fall off, and so he'll award a 5p and give the kids to Paul. That seems to me what this is all going towards, doesn't it? I mean, the papers have really got it in for this. What on earth has she ever done to them? Seems like she had a terrible past. A terrible recent past where she was in that accident. She came through it and was dedicating her life to a charity. So what if she was trying to get a mug in the papers every now and again? The tabloid press are full to the brim of people who are trying to get their faces in the papers. That's what they exist to print. And some people are fine, and we love them, and we'll print them over and over again. And some people, for doing exactly the same thing, are disgusting harlots and sluts. Aren't they? They just pick them at random. It's like, who will we have today? All right, we'll get that one. There's an editorial meeting in your rabid tabloid. So it's going to come down to a drug-taking hippie versus a sex-mad model. And which do you think the judge is going to side with? A caring, doting mother, or a bloke who's stoned? Lucy's getting nervous. Huh?
No. Just listening.
He was found with a plant when he went into Japan. Wasn't it Japan? Yeah, it was marijuana. He claimed that they'd put it in his... No, he didn't claim that. He didn't say that it was a plant. But of course it's a plant.
What did he put it in?
I've got no idea. But anyway, it's well known that he likes a toke, right? What rocker doesn't? Point to one person in the pop business who doesn't take drugs. There was someone in Girls Aloud. Who are Girls Aloud? You watch the Sky News every morning because I just can't bear the BBC News in the morning. It's so stupid. It's like the news done by the people who do Play School. It's just moronic. And the people who are presenting it, they can't be happy with it because they've been because they're journalists, have gone through BBC journalism school, and so they're being shoehorned into being light entertainment presenters. The other day I tuned in, they were tasting strawberries. Blindfold tasting strawberries. A woman who should be on Newsnight, because when she does actually do an interview with a politician, she morphs into this super bright brain. And she knows what she's talking about, and she can nail a politician, and this is waiting, itching to come out. But she's there doing a Richard and Judy thing in breakfast, blind tasting strawberries to see which is better, English or American. And she got the answer wrong. She said American. And her co-host was mortified, and he just went on and on and on about it. It was ridiculous. And so I tune over, and Eamon Holmes is being his usual jovial self. I like Eamon Holmes. He's doing an excellent job. I hope they don't sack him. Because they're sacking everybody else over there right now, aren't they? Because the BBC is trouncing them in the ratings, which is kind of outrageous when you think about it, that they're spending all of our money just to stick one on Sky. Mind you, if you've seen Fox News in America, you'll know that we do need a balance. They call themselves fair and balanced. Yeah, right, so was Hitler. What was I saying?
Well, numerous things, really. Well, it depends which one you want to go back to. We still haven't actually established who was the most intelligent sports person out of the 12
Oh, you want me to
Gaylors.
drop the Paul McCartney thing?
Well, you don't have to.
This was all in the Sun, by the way, and it was on the back page of all this, Heather Mills is disgusting, we've never seen anything like it, look, she's nude. On the back page was a picture of a woman who, I don't even know who she is. Kate Lawler. Do you know who that is? Who?
Big Brother 1, Big Brother 2.
Right, so she's no one, right? She won a silly reality television programme
She went on
years
to do
ago.
radio as well.
What radio?
She did the Channel 4 breakfast show Rise for a couple of years as well.
Yeah, and then she went on to
no
radio.
one was
in
watching
London.
at the time.
No.
What radio? Here?
No. Music radio.
Oh, blimey. A DJ? Which
Yeah.
station? Name it and shame it.
Yes. Oh, no. Yes.
Anyway, she's no one. She won a silly... it's not in the public interest what she does, right? So they've followed her to a beach and they've taken a picture of her in a bikini. At the moment when she's pulling the bikini down so that you can see the whole of the moon. Now, if I'd gone to a beach and I'd stood there and followed women with bikinis, just wait until they pulled it down so you could see all of their bottom, and I was out there taking pictures, they'd lock me up. But
What's she meaning to show her bottom?
I don't know. Let you be the judge. There it is right there.
Oh, well, that looks like... It looks like she's got a bit of sand in her
exactly
bikini.
Right.
So
she's
gone
adjusting
into the pool.
herself.
Well, not
yes.
really. She could have done it a bit better, couldn't she?
Well, I don't know. It looks perfectly all right to me, but it's not in the public interest.
Oh, come on. We wouldn't be getting our bottoms out in the pool like that.
Well, she's not thinking that some guy with a 2-foot-long telephoto lens is...
But you would think about all the people on the beach when
well,
you're...
maybe there's nobody on the beach.
No.
I mean, they've got stealth capability now, these journalists. It could be 10 miles away in a hovercraft, in a helicopter, hovering, and it could either fire a missile to take her out, if he was, part of the Israeli Delta Force, or he could take a picture of her, which is what they did right there. So, on the one hand, we've got a man taking pictures of women on the beach, and it's not even a famous woman. I bet 99% of the people listening to this show have never even heard of her.
Exactly, but that's why she's got her bottom out, isn't it?
Right. So what? And so why is she in this paper? Who are appalled that a woman would do the naughty naked nude thing on one page and loving it on the very next page? It's a contradiction. That's all I'm saying. So I think we've done that, haven't we? I just think it's...
Do you want to take a break, by the way?
I think I need to take a lie down after this. And I love the front page of the Stun on Wednesday. It was another revelation that was of this sex manual, supposedly, or whatever it was. Another revelation, which was going to be bad news for her. And the headline, New Blow for Heather. Oh, just going through the papers, I'm exhausted. Just trying to separate the main pages from all the fluff that comes from the inside. It's just completely taken it out of me. Let's go with Matthew in Windsor, poshest Windsor. Hello, Matthew.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm all right, thanks.
Good. One thing which I heard before, but I've had another thing since you've been talking, just a quick point. I used to live overseas for most of my life, and the reason we always put lime in our beer, and the original reason, is to keep the flies off it.
I thought flies would be attracted to lime.
No, they hate it, and they love beer. So you put the lime in the tub. It's nothing to do with the taste, but it just so happens it does taste quite good.
Huh. Ask a fly about lime, and he'll say,
I hate it!
So that covers that question. And also, while you were talking, Mr. Alan Sugar, or so I say Sir Alan Sugar, he makes, or his company makes, most of the Sky Plus boxes that you'll buy in your house.
Is that a fact? Then I have a complaint.
What's that then?
Does he own Pace?
I don't know, but he makes most of the stuff that goes inside of it, and most of the technology behind it.
Right.
So the other brands will take that, and obviously they'll use bigger brands, hard drives, stuff like that. But most of the stuff is developed by him.
I have to say, go on.
And he does a lot of the actual box itself. Some of them might actually be made by him, but most of it's just the inside.
I talked to a Sky engineer, and apparently there's three makes of a Sky Plus box, and he said, and I had one of the ones that you're not supposed to have. The engineers know that they break all the time, and even if you paid me, I wouldn't be able to remember which was which. But he replaced it and said, "Oh no, you want this one because the other two are rubbish."
Well, those ones where you sigh when you ring them up, and they're like, "So what is?"
Oh,
it?
yeah, exactly right. Yeah, but I have to say that it's about the most satisfying gadget I've ever used, because I've used a lot of
changes your life
of those personal video recorders, and just having not to use a videotape machine anymore is a revelation. But all of them have got something kind of irritating about them. They don't jump to exactly how you want. There's too many buttons to press, and you know, and they're not quite.
Perfect one.
And they're not quite it. But I'd have to say, without I'm not advertising. I'm just saying what I think. Right? I have to say that the Sky Plus box is actually the most satisfying software of any home entertainment gadget I've ever used. Whoever came up with the software for that is a genius. Because it's just so simple.
Satisfying. The reason it's so satisfying is it's so simple. And
Exactly.
There's not much more than you normally do anyway. It's basically, you're so used to the Sky system, which is excellent anyway, and then all you do is just add a little bit on with the red button here and there.
I just kind of wish that it wasn't putting money in Rupert's pocket.
I know,
you know?
I know, it's a bit of a shame. They are brilliant, though, and they do change people. So you're about to go out, just press the button if you've forgotten something at the last minute. No, like, rewinding the tape and whatever.
The thought of going back to ordinary television, I don't think I could do it. I wouldn't want to watch it anymore. It would be just unsatisfying.
You only watch what you want to. Have you got one of the HD ones, then?
Good God, no. HD? So I'm not working for BBC radio. Commercial radio I'm on. You're joking, aren't you? HD?
But there you go, then. That's the Alan Sugar and the lime in the drinks to keep the flies off.
Keep the flies off?
Which is also another thing tapas they used to do on your drink. Tapas actually comes from, you'd have a small snack, and it was just on a plate which you place on top of your glass to keep the flies off.
That's not true. That's not why they invented tapas. That's a silly thing to say, Matthew.
Where it comes from.
Hey, you're posh. What do you think the most...
I'm not posh.
Of course you are. You talk like that and you live in Windsor. Well, you're posh on this show, anyway. What do you think that the sport with the most intelligent participants is from this list? Cricket, tennis, rugby union, rugby league. Can you tell the difference? No. Football, snooker, cycling, rowing, athletics, horse racing, golf and boxing.
I am going to say one. I'm going to choose rowing, because out of all those people, the rowers generally have another job as well, whereas most of those people just do it in their main time, they're solely sportsmen. A lot of rowers actually have another job. So that's my 2p.
He's going with rowing, and survey says...
No!
No. No one's getting this right at all.
No.
Absolute showers.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, cheers, mate. But everyone is picking the middle-class sports, which I think is awful. Are you people saying that middle-class people are naturally more intelligent than working-class people? That can't be true, can it? Let's go with... have we got time? What time is it? Is this a quick call? Lucy Lou?
Probably not, no.
Probably not.
No, I'd hold fire.
OK, briefly, let's go... I guess if we're going to go briefly, we might as well go with the one that everyone's going to be reading tomorrow. The news of the world. Oh, the front page is awful. They're just digging a hole for this woman, aren't they? I don't think I can read it. That's just... I'm starting to feel sorry for her, and I'm starting to feel ill will towards Sir Paul. And why do we always have to call him Sir Paul and Sir Alan, and everyone's falling over themselves to give them their title? No one calls me Mr. Nick. From now on, Lucy, I want you to call me Mr. Nick. Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
On FS.
There should be a sign on the front of the News of the World that says, after reading, please wash your hands. I feel like taking a shower. I've only flipped through it. Oh, my God. This should come in a shrink wrap. It should be on the top shelf. This isn't a newspaper. This is porno. The amount of boobs that I've seen in this newspaper so far. And that doesn't even include Sir Ian Blair. He's under fire. Page after page after page of this. Oh. But there is news about Wayne Rooney. How his foot got better. Have a wild stab in the dark. How do you think his foot got better so quickly?
Resting it?
What special trick? He hasn't been resting it at all. He's out there dancing.
The oxygen tank?
No. I talked to somebody about oxygen tanks. I told you about this before, didn't I? Apparently it only has an... Well, not rubbish. It only has an effect on muscle tissue, not bones. It's almost a complete waste of time, putting them in an oxygen tent. Maybe they were just having a laugh. Just kidding along. Oh, go in there, Wayne. Oh, well, okay then. All right. Oh, speaking of all right... You know, I was ranting and raving about this religious nut that was haranguing the crowds in Oxford Circus. There's another one.
In the same place?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Actually, not quite the same place. The first one pitched his... well, he didn't have a tent. He might as well have done. He was there all the time. He was on the north side of Oxford Circus. This new one has positioned his gigantic northern belly on the southern side of Oxford Circus. He also has a loud hailer microphone PA system.
Maybe it's his brother.
And he's his thing is he comes from Liverpool. Like, we don't have enough of them down here. We're importing them now.
So they shout at each other.
Oh no, I think the other one's relocated. Last I heard, he was upsetting people in Piccadilly Circus.
Because that would be quite funny.
I would like to see that. Yeah, a fight to the death. And he's. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have you heard about Jesus? Ladies and gentlemen. He must have said ladies and gentlemen almost at the front of every sentence. And people are just stunned. I mean, it's all tourists, right? And they're just incredulous that this man is able to stand there. He's not being beaten to the ground by large men with truncheons. Another one. And they have to go and get an ASBO to ask him politely to move on. This is ridiculous. The way this country's run is just silly. That they can't just... I mean, he's obviously making a public nuisance of himself. I mean, if I went down there and set up a PA system and started playing this show, they'd cart me off, wouldn't they? If I went down there and just set it up and I started doing this show and to chatter to people who were passing by, they'd have a van screech up in no time, wouldn't they? Bundle me in the back, you'd never see me again. I'll be off on one of those secret CIA planes. I'll be in South America before you know it. With the government's collusion.
Might end up in Paraguay.
In Paraguay, exactly right, yeah. Celebrating their huge loss. Well, at least they scored. We couldn't even do that. And all the papers, the front page of most of the papers that haven't got poor Heather Mills McCartney spread all over them is the word few, which was pretty much everyone's thought, right? Just scraped through that one. That was pathetic. David Bowie. It might as well have been David Bowie on the pitch. 83-year-old rock star would have done just as good a job as most of the people that were playing for England. But Beckham fluked a goal, and that was it. That was all we had. Oh yeah, we're going to win the World Cup. No worries. Brazil are quaking in their boots, even though they only have got one name. Can anybody explain that? Has anybody got any idea why Brazilians only have one name, like Madonna?
No.
I mean, it suggests that they don't have parents, or they've got no idea where they came from. They just found them on the street.
Is it their first name or their last name? Or they've just got one name?
Well, you know, they've only got one name, haven't they?
Huh.
Pele. What's his name? Pele. At least he's got 2 syllables.
Is it Google time?
Not yet. Wayne Rooney, the secret of Wayne Rooney's foot. Would you like to know? It's been unearthed by the News of the World.
Yes, we would.
The secret of Wayne Rooney's miracle foot cure can be revealed. His pet dog licked it better.
No.
A pal said, another one of these, they could quite possibly be just making it up. A pal said, every night Wayne would come home and rest his sweaty foot on a... Now, how do you pronounce this next word? P-O-U-F-F-E. A puff.
Yes, or poof, if you want to
So
say
Wayne
it
would
silly.
come home and rest his sweaty foot on a poof. And Bella, his bichon frisé. I want a picture of a bichon frisé on that screen within moments.
I think
It's
you
not...
say a bichon frise.
Whatever. And, is it not one of those silly yappy dogs, is it?
I believe it might be.
Oh, come on, Wayne. I mean, I know you're hamstrung by having a silly name, but you don't have to have a silly dog as well. Bichon Frise Dog Secrets. This will be a colour pull-out in the News of the World before you know it. I was going to read that. Go back.
Do you want that back?
Yeah, I do. Bichon Frise dog secrets.
Secrets?
They like licking feet, apparently. Are you thinking of buying a Bichon? Not sure how to go about it? What questions to ask or how to look after and train your little friend? Maybe you already own one or more Bichons and want to make sure you can care for your Bichon Frise properly. Oh, it's just like, buy this and we'll tell you how to do it. Recognise a good breeder. All right. No, get me a picture. I want to see... I'm desperate to know what kind of a dog Wayne's got. I know what kind of a car he's got, and I'm very upset about it. He's got an Aston Martin. Ruining the look of that car every time he steps near it, let alone in it. Do a Google picture search.
Bichon will not be left alone for long hours. 3.
It likes to look.
Oh, there you go.
No, it's like the sort of thing that Paris Hilton would carry around in her handbag. It's like
Look,
a
that's
mini.
the before and after.
It's like.
So be nice.
It's like a mini poodle. It's kind of. It's like one of those things that you would see on the back shelf of a car, nodding at you. You could put in its pocket. That is awful.
Does it look like a footlicker to you?
Say that again. A pal said every night Wayne would come home and rest his sweaty foot on a poof. Does Wayne Rooney have poofs?
Obviously.
No, when was the last time you went in a house and it had a poof?
I don't think you should say it like that. It doesn't sound right when you say that.
So he that's where it's rests his sweaty foot, right there. And Bella, his Bichon Frise, would slobber lovingly all over it.
Oh.
England fans have a lot to thank her for. Bella is one of 3 dogs owned by Wayne, 20, and his fiancée, Colleen. Wayne and Colleen. In perfect harmony with a silly little yappy dog. Whose breath must smell... Oh, can you imagine?
Apparently it's good for athlete's foot.
What, dog licking?
Yeah.
I thought it was urine.
This show is... I mean, it's not me. You understand that, don't you, listeners? It's not me that's dragging this show down into the gutter. It's them through there. They're doing it. Naomi Gong left me gobsmacked, says Ulrika. Anyone can get a column these days, can't they? Just who hasn't got a column in the newspapers these days? And all you do, I mean, if you work for the Sun, all you do is you rehash the same thing over and over and over again. Well, foreigners, we don't like them, and they've laid off the gays lately, haven't they? Because now the Sun is a friend of the gays. That's what they say as well. The gays, like they're. Like this, like an exhibition
Species.
in the... yeah, exactly. Like there's something in the zoo. The penguins. We're going to see the penguins today. Yeah, they're in the cage right next to the gays. We'll see both at the same time. It's a twofer. Oh, speaking of which... A Boston department store has removed a pair of male mannequins from its window display after a family values group accused it of promoting raunchy homosexual activity. Mass Resistance, a group that campaigns against gay marriage and gay-themed textbooks in school, declared war on display in Macy's, Boston's most prominent shop. The window, advertising the city's Gay Pride Week, showed 2 male mannequins. Now, you're racing ahead of me with your thoughts, aren't you? And it's not like that at all. Slow down a little there, Lucy. You're out of control.
I said nothing.
They showed 2 male mannequins, with one of them wearing a skirt fashioned from a gay pride rainbow banner. Macy's removed the mannequins after Mass Resistance posted pictures of them on its website and encouraged its supporters to complain. The window is now empty, except for a poster listing the gay pride events. So they're not happy, are they? But imagine that. Like, you spend your whole life running around trying to stop people being gay. I mean, how much time would you have to have on your hands? I mean, that's just insane, isn't it? Oh, quick, Charlene, there's another one. Bring that banner that says Adam and Steve. Quickly, Charlene, we'll get them. Crazy people. Oh. If they ever came over here, their head, just seeing British daytime television, their heads would explode. Oh, people, eh? What would we do without them? I wouldn't have any material. If you completely lost count of the women in saucy poses that is in the news of the world today. Talk about value for money. I mean, it's just page after page after page. It's becoming like the sport. Lover reveals shocking hidden world of Alan Partridge star. Coogan gave me a hard time, ... until I threw his Viagra out the window. Eh? Whoa, eh? How about a nice story? A good story, like a heart-warming, life-affirming story. Do you want one of those?
Nobody cares about them, do they?
Teenage lotto winner Callie Rogers is working as a carer for £6 an hour because scooping the jackpot made her so depressed. That's not the good part. Not the depressed part. And you're stunned. You see, a woman who hasn't had much money, it comes as a shock and they don't know what to do with it. Like they buy a crate of light ale and then after that they're stumped. They buy the council flat that they're living in, because it's invariably someone who's living in a council flat, because they're the one that spends all their money on lottos, right? The reason that not many rich people win the lotto is because they're not remotely interested.
I should play. I might be able to get my 2-bed house.
Yeah, that'll work, yeah. Play the lotto. Spend all your money on tickets. Troubled Callie, who still has most of her £1.9 million win in the bank, spends 5 days a week cooking and cleaning for the elderly. All right, Callie! A little ray of sunshine in this horror story that we call life. Isn't that nice? I mean, not that she's depressed and all, because she's got so much money. What would you do with £1.9 million? Would you go and work for £6 an hour to care for the elderly, Lucy? Of course you wouldn't. And that's why you're you. And we love you for it. Right, let's take Robert.
Hello there.
How you going?
Just tell you I'm recording this call for training purposes. I say that all the time. You talk about journalists make up the news.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I used to do that when I used to be laughably a journalist at a radio station I used to work for. And I have a ludicrous story I used to make up. Nobody ever questioned it, and they still read it out in the air. It always amused me.
Yeah, undoubtedly. And the thing with news rooms, every newsroom that I've been around, is that they're quite bloodthirsty people. Like, if a death comes in, they get quite excited. If it's, like, more than one, if it's multiple deaths, they will describe that as, and I know this sounds shocking, but this is what they say, it's a sexy story, they say.
It's true, because I had work experience at a, let's say, internationally famous world, BBC place.
Yeah, without mentioning any names.
Yeah.
The BBC, was it?
And there was a murder in North Wales, and the rumours came in that it might be a serial killer. Oh, and everyone got excited. Oh, copy for a week.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, it's and it's, you know, they do that because that's what sells. But I mean, if you read a newspaper, you can flip by it, and if you don't want it to affect you that much, then it won't. But if you work in that environment, I could never work in that environment, because to talk about getting depressed for winning £1.9 million. I think I would beat that depression.
And why would you pay £30 to read somebody else's opinions as well?
Well, it depends what they are. I mean, I would pay 30. I'd buy the one newspaper really for 2 columnists. So columnists are worth their money if they're funny. But to columnists, most columnists aren't funny. They're just recycling the same old people. Here's how people write columns. A story will come out, and they'll go, "Oh, blimey, do you hear about this? This is awful, isn't it?" And the next columnist will read that column and print exactly the same idea. And then the next columnist will read that column, and then they'll print the same idea until it goes all the way around once. And then when it goes back to the beginning again, the first columnist will say, "But on the other hand, here's a completely different opinion that's 180 degrees from what I've said previously." And then the second columnist will say, "Oh, yeah, that's right." And then they'll just copy that, and then around and round and round it goes, and one opinion can last you 2 weeks.
Yeah. Who did the Sun replace Little John with? I don't look at the Sun anymore.
I think they got... Little John was on twice a week, wasn't he? I think they got now... John Gaunt.
Oh, yeah.
Gaunty. That's got to be one of the worst columns in the whole of Fleet Street. And they got Lorraine Kelly, who's on Saturday, who's a lot harder in her column. I guess they've told her to butch up a bit because she's all, knitting and soft focus. But she's a bit, I don't know, she's a bit strict for me. You don't want Lorraine Kelly to be hard-hitting. You want Lorraine Kelly to be Lorraine Kelly, right?
Hello.
Hello. Hello. I know, she's just so sweet. You don't want her going on about,
Oh, I bet she's dirty, really.
Oh, don't say that.
Joking. I'm sure she washes every day.
And I can't remember who else they've got. Who else have they got?
They have Clarkson. Still.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, now that's Jeremy Clarkson and A.A. Gill. Those are the columnists that I buy my paper for. I'll name it. The Sunday Times. And they're funny, and both of them have got 2 columns, and so that's me happy. And the rest of it's just misery from start to finish. Well, the Sunday Times proper... Oh, hang on, I'll prick it up and show you.
It is the Sunday papers.
The Sunday Times proper is one shocking story about the government's incompetence and malfeasance and mendacity after another. And then, as I said last week, swiftly, nothing happens. And people will they'll read it and go, oh, my God, can you believe it? And then they'll turn the page and it'll be forgotten instantly. And nothing will... Why do they even bother? So let's... is there one on the front? Judges named and shamed. OK, here you go. Judges. Fools, right? Idiots. Got no idea what's going on. And they're... Good grief. They're suggesting now, the Home Office is suggesting now that for 10 joints you should get 14 years in prison, right? Rape someone and you'll get 5 years. Can anybody figure that out?
Oh, justice system.
If I knock someone over with a car and leave them to die in the road, they'll fine me 50 quid. True. Happened this week. If I knock a child down and leave them to die in the road, they'll fine me £50. If I have 10 joints on me, they'll put me away for 14 years. Is anybody making sense of this yet?
I, for some pleasure, on Monday, went to the local magistrate's court to watch the proceedings.
Did you?
Yeah.
Why?
I got my housemate up at 7 in the morning and said, come on, let's have a little laugh.
But did you know what case they were doing?
No, but on Monday morning you get the scum from the weekend, like all the fights from town. And
what area of the town is it? Oh, the Rhondda. Oh, yes.
No. I'm back home at I'm Swansea. No, Uxbridge, yeah.
And what was that like?
Well, surprisingly enough, there weren't that many this week. There was, what was that? A burglary. He got a month's, what's the word? Curfew.
The month's curfew.
Yeah. Extended.
Right, in his own house or somebody else's?
What else was there? Non-paying of fines, which he still didn't have to pay.
Right, did they fine him?
No. See, sir, if you put me in prison today, I can't start my job. It was everyone had started the job that day. It was amazing. and the magistrates, who obviously, bless them, don't have a clue what's going on. So they ask the court clerk, what can we do? Give him a fine. It's pathetic.
It is pathetic. It's like no one seems to be running this country anymore, and day after day, it's just we're all slack-jawed with incredulity. What is going on? What is going on? That's a direct question to you, Lucy.
I don't know, but it stinks.
More than 200 of Britain's top judges have been giving unduly lenient sentences to criminals guilty of sex offences or other serious crimes, according to a list released by the Attorney General. Blah, blah, blah. All right, that's one. Page 2. It's all about football. Blimey, page 2 and 3 is all about football. So no government incompetence there.
Of course, the news in this country, I heard you saying it on, is nothing nearly as bad as what Fox News does. I mean...
With what?
The news in this country isn't as bad as Fox News.
Oh, Fox News in America, yeah. Well, if you want to laugh, then keep your wits about you and watch Fox News in America. It's absolutely incredible. In fact, there's an excellent film called, what is it? It's a documentary about Fox News. I think it's called Fair and Balanced, because that's their...
Fox.
Huh?
Outfoxed.
Is it called Outfoxed? Right. Because Fair and Balanced is their slogan in America, and it's the least fair and balanced, not since Pravda. Has anything been less fair and balanced?
I think what they're trying to refer to when they say fair and balanced is that they argue that all the media in America is very liberal, so they counterbalance it by being very conservative.
Yeah, to put it mildly. Yeah.
I advise you watch a program at 1 a.m. in the morning called The O'Reilly Factor, which is laugh out loud funny.
Yeah, that guy needs putting down.
Bill O'Reilly. He classes himself as a liberal.
Yeah, liberal, yeah, him and Pol Pot.
I don't like the death penalty.
I can't find any tales of government. Maybe they've run out. Maybe there's just been so much lately that they're all completely spent. They're giving us a week off. That'll be what it is. Everyone's out there watching football. And do we have to have a close-up picture of al-Zarqawi's dead face? I mean, is that what you want to look at over your cornflakes in the morning? Your corned flakes? Flakes of corn, golden flakes of corn, without mentioning any brand names. So that's a bit of a disappointment. I'll have to stick with the columns in the Sunday Times. I'll go through the sport shortly. There's bound to be something uplifting in there, eh?
The first episode of Newsnight, they went through the sport accidentally.
Did they?
There's a hilarious clip of Peter Snow going, oop, 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 flicking the pages and breasts everywhere.
Hey, you're in Wales. Have you ever felt like fleeing?
Yes. No. Oh, don't get me on this, but... You know, you live in a small community, like the Rhondda, 100,000, all vile people, and you go somewhere like a city, Swansea, which isn't, Uxbridge, sorry, which isn't, you know, a million miles away, but life is very different, and...
Well, Swansea is probably different to Cardiff, right? I mean, Cardiff is a metropolitan... They've got an opera house, for crying out loud. What have Swansea got?
Swansea, no one's ever been to Swansea, I mean...
Well, English people, when they go to Wales, they stop at... what's the place just before Cardiff that's quite nice? What a nice railway station.
Barry?
Barry? No, that's the little place by Cardiff that's got a seaside. No.
Barry Island, Northern Ireland.
Exactly. Well, talking of Barry Island, a man fed up with life in Wales... had to be rescued after trying to row to France in a 4-foot inflatable dinghy, the Coast Guard said yesterday. The alarm was raised when he began to drift 1.5 miles off Barry Island, South Wales. Jerry Adams, for Barry Dock Lifeboat, said the man was apparently angered because of some accommodation problems at his hostel in Cardiff. At the beach he kept shouting, "I'm fed up with Wales."
Where's he from then?
He said, "I'm going to France." The lifeboat brought him back less than 45 minutes into his journey. Oh, poor bloke.
What, Swansea?
You imagine him standing there with his rolled-up trousers and a handkerchief on his head, shaking his fist. "I'm fed up with Wales." He's going to row to France. Little did he know that there was an entire country next door to Wales he didn't have to row to. He could just have walked across the border. England, mate.
There's a story of, from people I might remember, I don't know, of a man who sailed from Swansea on his... windmill thing, or windsurfing thing, and accidentally ended up in Devon. Anybody remember that? No?
No, but you certainly topped my story. That was excellent.
Accidentally, and he had to call his girlfriend to come all the way from Swansea all the way down to Devon.
Lots of people have made money
So let's go through the papers then, because I can't believe we're running out of time. You're supposed to be organising this show, Lucy. You're doing a terrible job.
I'm sorry. Shall I go?
This is the Star on Sunday. Few. The most commonly used word on the front of the papers today is few. This one is few. 30-degree heat, a dodgy ref, and a stinking hangover, but it's job done. And speaking of refs, on the inside it says referees have been hit with a nookie ban by FIFA. The officials and their assistants have been warned to keep their hands off their wives during the tournament. The ban does not apply to anybody else's wife, though. They can avail themselves at their leisure.
Phew.
Why? And the first signs they're getting twitchy came in the England-Paraguay game yesterday. Mexican ref Marco Rodriguez, dubbed Dracula because of his resemblance to the vampire, made lots of dodgy decisions. He booked 3 players, Steven Gerrard, Peter Crouch and Nelson Heido Valdez, and was fussy with his whistle. That's what his wife says. Sport FIFA bosses say the presence of lovers at the ref's base camp would lead to a lack of concentration. And, well, they only have to concentrate when they're on the pitch. I mean, they're not actually going to have sex with their wives while refereeing a game, are they? Maybe that's what their ban's about. They just want to make sure, just in case. And the frustrated officials have been ordered to stick to a strict fitness regime at their hotel, which is bad news for English ref Graham Poll, who's already in Wife Julia's bad books. He'll miss his... Blah, 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 who cares? Anyway, that's the Star. The Sunday Express. Does anybody read the Sunday Express? Why would you read the Sunday Express? If it's like halfway to the Mail, well, you're not that right-wing, so you buy the Express, because you don't want anything that's broadsheet because your arms aren't that long. But you're not prepared to sully yourself down to go to where the red top sex stories?
Well, you often get a good story on Diana in the Express, don't you?
Not anymore, surely.
Oh, yeah, I think they still are running with it.
They're still
Is there
trying
not
to,
one today?
They're still trying to find another Diana. For a while there, it was David Beckham. They had a new Di was David Beckham, and then for a little while there, it was Anthea Turner. That didn't last long, did it? Oh, well, you're not far off, actually. Inside One's Palace of Delights. The Queen is, I don't know what she's doing. I was remotely interested. Nicole Appleton. Not Appleton, Kidman. I can't tell the difference with any of these thin birds anymore. Sunday Telegraph. The church has fallen apart since I was in charge, says Carey. Oh, yeah, since he left, people have stopped going. Right. Does anyone go to church anymore? Anyone? Hands up in the back. Those of you not sleeping. Anyone at all? No? Do you?
Very occasionally, yeah, I do.
Well, that's a no then. Very occasionally. I go very occasionally. Once when I was a child, and maybe, I don't know, once when I'm dead.
No, I go more often than that. I do.
Well, you don't have to be ashamed about it.
No, I'm not. But you thought I might have just gone, like, twice like you, but... You know, a couple more times.
Inquiry reveals jail racism is rife, says The Observer. No kidding. There's a shock to everyone, isn't it? There's racism in jails? You're joking. In any institution, let's face it, the human species are racist. That didn't quite come out right, did it? Humans are racist. In fact, everything is. It goes back to when we were living in caves and we all hung around in little groups. Anyone new, anyone different was to be feared because they weren't of our group. So they might boff you on the bonce and nick your bone or whatever it was that you were trying to protect at the time. So it's in us. It's ingrained in our genes. Of course, we're fearful and aggressive towards those that are different. There's very little we can do about it. This thin veneer of civilization is all that's preventing me from jumping through the glass and throttling you, Lucy. I'm Heather's porno lover, on the front page of the Sunday Mirror, and the Daily Mail is very upset. No surprise there. And the Peephole, which was tremendous fun last week, got Heather on the front page, Few on the second page, beer. Oh, it's so grim. It's just so women with no clothes on, over and over and over again. Oh, I can't be bothered with it anymore. It's awful. Let's go with Mayfair. Adam.
It's driving you mad, Nick, isn't it?
Absolutely up the wall.
Trying to dissect this quagmire of sewage we're living in, yeah?
Exactly.
It's just one big joke, isn't it? Everything seems to be so... We're a small island, and as you said, when it comes to punishments for crimes, you summed up quite well. You knock a child over, you get,
a 50 quid fine. That actually happened this week. He left her to die, and he got a 50 quid fine.
Ludicrous. Just unbelievable. It doesn't come into normal thinking, does it?
Well, you just read that, and you think...
You know.
What can you think? Anyway, let's not go down that road, because that's depressing.
It's very depressing, it is. What's the headline at the back of the News of the World? The heat is on?
The headline in the back of the News of the World.
Just come into my head.
One moment, please.
I haven't seen any papers, just thought that might be a good headline.
Back of the News of the World. 3 lines, 3 points.
Oh, well, that'll do the job. The referee didn't have any love-making at half-time, so they can be happy.
Well, it won't do the job, though, will it? Unfortunately not.
Did you see it today?
I did.
Did you see that referee's hair wasn't out of place? He used a hell of a lot of at half-time. Did you know?
It's almost like he'd painted it on, yeah.
Imagine the sweat in that, if it was 30 degrees out there.
Awful.
Oh, God. Terrible. I mean, even...
Are you in Mayfair?
Yes.
You don't sound like a sort of person who... if you don't mind me saying so, you don't sound like a Mayfair.
I'm only a concierge.
Well, you should sound... You're only a what?
Concierge. I spoke to you before, remember? You said you used to be a security guard.
You're a what now?
You asked if I was a security guard, and I said no, and you said you used to be a security guard.
You're a concierge?
What do you think I am?
That's not how you pronounce it, surely. Or is it different in Mayfair?
You say concierge or concierge?
Well, you said it the exact same way twice.
Concierge.
Concierge.
However you want to say it. Concierge, concierge. Well, what should I sound like then in Mayfair?
Wait, you're giving me a choice of two exactly the same pronunciations.
Concierge.
As opposed to a...
Concierge. You're a case you are, aren't you?
You're having a laugh, ain't you, Adam?
Sound like that? A bar boy from the West End. What do you say?
Is it not a concierge?
Okay then, a man who can just push all the right buttons if you need a good restaurant. How's that?
So what restaurant are you recommending these days up your end?
Oh, we've got a few going.
Go on then.
We've got a few going. Do you like the Ivy?
No, I don't, actually. I think it's way overrated.
Do you like Naboo?
I've never been. I think I wouldn't go to it. I wouldn't mind eating there, but I wouldn't go through all that folderol. I wouldn't be bothered with all that.
No, so you got me thinking now.
The Ivy. Why is the Ivy so unbelievably popular? You go in there and the food's...
Well, you look at
it's okay. And the room's all right. I mean, it's quite nice. You can't see out the window because there's no no view, and it's all stained glass windows anyway. And the food's like it's all right. It's okay. Nothing to write home about. And the service is very up and down. It's like it's when I went there with me mum ages ago. This is before it became this insane celebrity hangout. I mean, it's always been sort of stuffed with actor types.
Was that for Sunday lunch?
I can't remember, mate.
Your mum, it's got to be Sunday lunch.
We went there and they served us wine at room temperature, and I said white wine at room temperature, and I said, "Did you have a?" I was very nice about it. Did you have a cold one? Was the gist of what I asked. And the attitude he gave me for having the temerity to ask for a cold white wine. This is in, you know...
That look, did he?
What's that, mate?
He gave you that look.
Well, he gave me the look that makes you want to knock off the 12.5% service charge that they automatically add on the bill. Yes, exactly.
Drives you crazy, doesn't it? So, do you know Mayfair that well?
I couldn't, I don't know the back routes like a cabbie would.
Lucy's getting a flat here next week. She's moving in for a few months.
Oh, yeah.
She gets a new place, you know.
I seriously doubt that.
Too expensive.
They must be a nightmare to work to concierge for. Are you in a hotel or is it a?
No, it's private block of flat.
Private block of flat. Nightmare, right?
Eyes open, mouth shut, listen, observe.
Awful people and live in Mayfair.
They're
am
not
I
all
right?
bad, but the majority can be a right pain. I must admit they can because
most of them don't live there all the time. Yeah,
no,
they just
don't.
come in for the summer.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, a lot of the flats are empty here over the winter months, but because they expect things with the click of a finger, everything has to. The driver has to be here. The restaurant table has to be booked. Even if the table is already booked, they want it booked, so you could kind of say to the restaurant...
Why anybody would want to live in Mayfair is beyond me, because you're just surrounded by awful people.
Yeah, a lot of them do live in there. I was saying to Lucy, I'll show my old travel card to a few of them. They've never seen one, some of them.
A travel card?
Yeah,
public transport?
That's right.
Public transport to them is a cab.
Or the driver turning up.
In fact, they probably wouldn't even want to go in there, because other people's bottoms have been sitting on this... Ooh, they wouldn't even want to sit down. They'd hover above the seat. Just a couple of inches, just so that their crinoline doesn't get...
they do shop at Sainsbury's, though. Because I see the delivery come quite often from Sainsbury's.
That's for the maid. Yeah, only the nanny gets stuff from Sainsbury's.
And it's the poor maid that's got to come down and log it up. The driver won't even do it.
No, of course not. That's driver drives. Maids. And you concierge.
You wouldn't like my job then, no?
No, definitely not. I can't pronounce it. But anyway, thanks a lot, Adam.
Nice talking to you.
Ta-ta, mate.
All right.
This is LBC 97.3. No ad break now, right? No. Let's, did you read this story about this girl? A girl of 8 has been diagnosed as suffering from repetitive strain injury through too much texting. Did you hear this? Little Isabel Taylor sent so many mobile phone messages to pals she needed treatment on her damaged wrists and hands. I mean, you've got an image in your mind of this insanely, furiously texting little tyke like that. Yeah, I wish this was television. Actually, I don't. I never want to be on television. But sometimes, you know, you need my hand. Just imagine me doing this.
Pictures.
Yeah, exactly. Furiously texting away. Probably chewing all the while. Awful child. Isabel of St Anne's, Lancashire, got a mobile off her gran at the age of... I've torn some of this article out, so I'm going to make it up. At the age of 5. Can you believe it? Her mum, Jane, 40, said that she had tried to stop her daughter texting too often, but to no avail. Well, she didn't try very hard, did she? I mean, all you have to do is take the phone off her. She's an 8-year-old child. How hard could that be? And the attitude will probably be something like, oh, I don't want to do that to me, bye-bye. That's what parents are like these days. It's just, they won't say a single word that lest it upset or abuse their human rights of their children. And that's why people are growing up like they are. Awful, isn't it? It's not the kids' fault, and it's not really the school's fault, it's the parents' fault. If the parents had actually had not demanded that corporal punishment, not capital punishment, that would be taking things too far. Well, I don't know. Let's start a list. If they hadn't demanded that it would be... or if they hadn't lain supinely by while it was taken out of schools, I think things would actually be a lot better right now, wouldn't they? Because kids don't get punished at all, ever. And if you're a kid, and I know this because I was one, what you do is you find where the line is, the line beyond which you cannot act. And there is no line beyond which they cannot act these days. They can do anything they want. And so whereas before... in days gone by, when I was a lad, you used to come up to a point and then you get your ears clipped, right? Can't do that now. They take you to Strasbourg. And so they go sailing past this point at which, normally, like even 10 years ago, 20 years ago, no kid would step beyond. And they go sailing past that because there's no punishment coming their way. And then they go to the next phase and there's no punishment, and then the next phase and there's no punishment, and suddenly everyone's stabbing each other in the face all the time. And you'd have to say that there's a direct line between that and where we are now. There's got to be. Have you seen them come up with an exam now? You basically don't even have to show up. You could phone it in. Yeah, just pretend I'm there, all right? Yeah, I'm there, like, mentally, but I'm at home with me iPod. That's pathetic. A 40-year-old mother tried in vain to stop a little 8-year-old girl Why is an 8-year-old girl texting? Why has she got a mobile phone? She's constantly on it. I tried to take it off her, but she started sneaking it to school. She tried to take... And I mean, let's get our heads around this for a second. She tried to take it off her. How hard did she try? Calm me down. Mum Jane added, now she's getting better... But she probably doesn't speak like this at all. But she's limited to texting for 30 minutes. 30 minutes?! This is a girl of 8 with repetitive strain injury. Now, what that means is that you can't use your hands. They just curl up into a ball like you've got arthritis. And you've got constant pain in your arms for the rest of your life. And her mum's going, oh, just keep it to 30 minutes, all right.
She talks like Shabazz. Can you do it that way?
I think some mothers need to be corrected. You remember, what was that movie that Jack Nicholson was in, where he was out in the middle of the wilds and he went nuts? All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Here's Johnny! That one.
Yeah.
What was that?
Is it,
Now, this is going to drive us nuts now. Every time I try and remember the name of this film, I can't come up with it. The Shining is the correct answer.
Yeah.
The Shining. I've forgotten why I was trying to remember this now. Oh, yes, the barman. You remember the barman in the scene? And Jack was complaining about his wife and his kids.
Yeah.
And the barman says, they need to be corrected. And we know what that means, don't we? Anyway, I'm not suggesting that you do that at all. Here's one on the M11. Phil.
Good morning.
Hey, Phil.
All right, mate. It's just, lots of things now since I've been listening. I had a woman who just couldn't stop her poor child texting. Just take it off her.
Just try harder, yes.
Stand on it. Just break it. Say, you're not going to bad arm anymore. You know, these parents, they're just scared to death of their children. And they are. It doesn't upset little Johnny, you know, and that's what's the matter with it. That's my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, parents need to get a grip of themselves and actually, bring discipline back into the home environment.
Such a word. They might as well take that out of the dictionary now. Discipline, because there isn't any. So, but that's not what I'm wrong for.
Right.
What I'm wrong for is, can you play the water girl off Big Brother? Because she's just Mickey, isn't it?
I've got a migraine. I need bottled water. What's the time?
I love the way she pronounces every syllable so precisely. It's not bottled water, it's bottled water.
Tap water.
Bottled water. And it helps to have seen this girl. It's just hilarious.
Let me have any bottled water. I've got a migraine.
This is all because she refuses to drink tap water.
Oh, God. If she had a migraine, she wouldn't scream that loud.
Yes, I am. I need my clothes. I'm going home. I swear, if they don't give me my clothes, I'm going home.
Go home, then. What they should do is, if they sit in that diary room and say, I'm going to go, they should say, here's the door, go, don't ever come back again.
I think they're running out of people, aren't they?
Well, I've not watched it now for a week because they've just...
Yeah, I'm losing interest.
Yes, I am, because I just am. The girls are just so awful, and so I've stopped watching it really now. I watched it up until... Because it's obvious who's going to win.
Yeah.
I think...
Mr. Clicks and Pops himself, R2-D2, yeah.
Stop the pigeon. Yeah. I think he's going to win.
Stop the pigeon?
Yeah. You know.
Okay.
And so he'll win. So I don't know what the others are there for now. And there's...
Ballast.
Oh, just so awful people.
Yeah, they are awful people, yeah. But that's part of it. It's like prodding people in the zoo, and the nasty types at Channel 4 are doing the prodding for us so we don't have to, yeah.
Their parents must watch them girls and think, oh, my beautiful daughter's in there, and is that what I brought her up to do, like? Because it's awful.
Well, they probably don't. Their parents are probably going, oh, that's me bye-bye. She's lovely. They're probably really proud.
My granny can't keep her hand off a man for 2 minutes.
Like that woman whose 5-year-old child was pregnant. It probably wasn't 5, it was probably 12 or something like that. And the newspaper asked her how she felt about that, and she said, oh, I'm really proud. Incredible.
Exactly.
So anyway, what do we think about Big Brother right now?
I hate it!
The amazing...
So we still haven't got around to who is, or which is the sport that has the most intelligent participants. Well, I'll make it easier for you. Which is the sport that has the least intelligent participants from this list? Cricket, tennis, rugby, I'll just twin them, because with a microscope you couldn't tell the difference between rugby union and rugby league, right? No one's interested. Football, snooker, cycling, rowing, athletics, horse racing, golf and boxing. Which is the sport that has the stupidest participants, according to this survey, which was reprinted without checking in your Super Soaraway, whatever it was today?
Boxing.
Boxing is not the right answer.
Oh. Shall I go with my second one, then?
Yes.
Football.
No, you're rubbish at you know what? I've forgotten to quiz you.
You have.
Oh. Well, this will be your quiz. You're failing this, too.
I've failed every single one so far on this.
The most intelligent sport, according to this list, cycling.
Really? That's interesting.
That's what David Cameron says.
Okay. What was number 2?
Golf.
Really?
Well, I guess that makes sense, because people who play golf are wealthy, and they didn't get wealthy by being stupid, did they?
Well, I don't know. See, Nick Faldo, I always used to think was fairly silly, because whenever he did his interviews, he'd go, you know what I mean, you know what I mean, you know what I mean.
Nick Faldo did?
Pretty much, after every single question he was asked.
Well, he probably doesn't represent golf players as a group. Golf players as a group are a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the reasons that I play golf so irregularly is because I don't know anybody to play with apart from my parents, and if I go on my own, then unless the golf course is completely empty, a swathe of old geezers will insist that you join in because apparently that's the golf way.
Yes.
And that's and if I go to and I really don't these days, but when I was working up in Leeds and in Scotland, because golf is practically free up there compared to how much it costs down here. So I used to go of an afternoon, and I'm rubbish, right? Absolutely rubbish. I lost 5 balls off a tee.
Have you got a handicap?
Yeah, playing golf.
But not an official one, I take it. No.
Yeah, and so if you're on your own, they insist, and you can't say no because it's
gentlemanly,
deeply insulting. But the last thing I want to do is spend my afternoon with a bunch of old geezers sucking their teeth and talking about immigrants. Because that's what golf people are like. They're obsessed with rules. Oh my God, they're in seventh heaven. They're like local council officials gone crazy. And the rules apply to everything. You have to tuck you can't play golf unless your shirt's tucked in. Doesn't matter what the weather's like or what the design of the shirt is. It's ridiculous. And every single aspect of your life on a golf course has 10,000 different rules, all of which you'll break unless you are, in with the in crowd.
It's a very obsessive game, isn't it?
Blimey. Golf is spoiled by the people who play golf.
My brother's a pro. Anyway.
Like I said, they're great. I can't say enough positive things about them. What super people.
They're very intelligent.
They're
anyway.
the second most intelligent participants in a sport, golf. The third, rowing. Now, cycling, golf and rowing are all middle-class pursuits, you'd have to say. I mean, some people cycle because they can't afford a car, which would make it more likely they'll be working class, but that's not really where we're coming from here. That's not cycling as a sport.
Okay.
Then athletics, followed by cricket, and then tennis. And then rugby's union and rugby league are twinned in the middle. And then comes boxing. Now, you'd think that they'd be way down, and that question, that guy... Have we got an ad break to go to?
No, we've done it.
We don't?
You've done it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And that was an excellent question. I think it was you, wasn't it, Clive? You said, was it before or after they'd been hit in the head a lot? Well, let's assume that it was before. Followed by horse racing, which is bizarre because you'd think horse racing is... oh, no, it's the owners that are posh. The actual poor, tiny little
jockeys,
munchkins who sit on the horses. Yeah, they're little Irish lads. And then football, second to last. They really are thickos, aren't they? The least intelligent people for any sport? Snooker. What a sad life it must be to be a snooker player. I mean, it's probably not even worth the money, is it? Snooker. You spend your entire life in breathing someone else's fag fumes in a cellar. No wonder they all look like that. They all look like they're made of wax, don't they?
Do they?
They do. They all look like they've got waxy skin. They all look right on the verge of death. Ill-looking people, they do, snooker players. Awful.
Better than darts players.
And they're thick, too. Better than darts players.
Yeah. They're the least attractive, aren't they?
At least the darts players have the robustness that comes with the drinking 10 buckets of beer while you're taking part in your sport. And it's not a sport if you can play it while being fat. You think of one sport that you can play with being fat, there isn't a single one, is it? They're all pastimes. Something to do between ordering pints and eating crisps. See, Daley Thompson wouldn't have conducted his sport in that manner. It's not a sport. Like this show, it's just a pastime.